Talk done better.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo. What's up, JL?
What up? Good morning,
And
my friend.
Not joined by our co-host, Coop A. Fiasco today. Coop is off looking for the lost treasure of Grimace, is where he is. So McDonald's, as you know, released their Grimace toys yesterday in adult Happy Meals. Coop went and got his. And heard something rattling around inside. So we went home, busted it open.
Always
and
curious.
There was a treasure map inside to the lost treasure of Grimace and Uncle O'Grimacy. So Coop is off on an adventure looking for that.
What's in the treasure?
The treasure it just says Grimace's most prized possession, is what it says. So
that's the whole treasure?
That's the whole
That
treasure,
sucks.
JL. What do you think Grimace's most prized possession is?
It's got to be his vault of French fries, right?
He's a milkshake guy. Remember, he
Milkshake?
started his
I know nothing
career.
about Grimace.
Grimace-
I know nothing. He goes, Simon goes, remember. Come on. No, I don't
The
know
fact
anything about
you're
this
not,
guy.
You catch up on your Grimace lore, JL. We'll ask Coop about it. Hopefully he finds that treasure today and he's back with us tomorrow. We got
I hope
Tommy
so.
in the chat saying good morning. Good morning, Tommy. What's up? Welcome
Good
in.
morning.
Joe, you really Grimace tour yesterday?
No, McDonald's has zero things that are vegetarian that aren't just like plain salad. So I don't eat McDonald's.
You don't like McDonald's plain salad? I heard they have a really great lettuce.
Nope. Not even their French fries are vegetarian. Fun fact.
What?
Nope.
What are they? They're made of animals?
Cook them in like animal fat. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably why they're so good instead of in peanut oil. Just that extra little bit of fat.
But
in there.
only in the U.S., which is another interesting fact about it. So in Europe, they've switched to vegetable oil, but when they did the switch to vegetable oil in the U.S., Americans and their fat asses complained that it didn't taste the same. And so McDonald's like, fine, we'll split it and we'll do half of this, really bad fat for you and half of this vegetable oil for you.
Man, I just feel like sometimes our country is so predictable, right? Like whenever that happened. Like,
Nope, this tastes different.
And you know what? The best part is, like, I'm sitting here making fun of that. I 100% would say it tastes different. Know what I mean? I probably was part of that group where I was like, man, these McDonald's French fries are just not the same. Like,
Go back to what it was, man.
unhealthier. I'm not eating these for health, McDonald's. Like, you think I'm coming in and I want to take my McDonald's French fries from like a 2 on the health scale to like a 4? No, just leave them at the 2 and we'll call it a day. Like my cheat meal doesn't need to be a little bit healthier.
All I'm asking for is vegetarians. I don't feel like that's too much to ask.
Tommy said the McVegan burger. Yeah, JL would love a McVegan.
A McVegan sounds disgusting.
Mmm.
Is that like you chop up vegans?
It sounds like a vegan that just you're right, because it's usually what it's made out of: the McRib, the McChicken, the McFish.
Right.
So what would this be? The McPossible?
Well, the McPossibles. I don't know. Is possible meat then the antithesis of impossible meat?
McBeyond?
Just ignore the question and come up with another one.
The McDouble Beyond burger. There we go.
Black bean.
The Big Mac
The Big
Beyond. To Big Mac and Beyond.
Oh, that's pretty good.
To Big Mac and Beyond. There we go. We said it. McDonald's, write it down. Call me. I'll sell it to you for $1
Call
million.
me.
JL, we had some news going down in the NFL since yesterday. We heard out of Washington Commanders from their camp. We can just call it camp.
Yeah.
They're going to activate rookie running back Brian Robinson after he was shot twice in August. He will practice Wednesday for the first time since the shooting, and we saw him out on the field on Sunday before the games running some routes. Are you excited for Brian Robson coming back from a fantasy perspective? From a personal perspective, I think we're all hyped to see him back on the field this soon after that. That was scary.
Yeah, definitely scary. Glad that he's back. Glad that he's doing okay. I mean, that's just great to see. From a fantasy perspective, I think he's a late round stash. He was a third round pick, I believe. Was he third or second round pick? Do you remember?
I do not remember. I can pull it up.
But he's got upside. I don't know that he's going to have the path to relevancy this season. I don't see that happening. You got Antonio Gibson there. McKissick did get hurt this past weekend, but I have not seen the latest on his injury. Yeah, Brian Robinson's more of a stash type of guy. If you have the room, I'm not dropping anybody who's performing currently to pick Brian Robinson up, though.
I think I'm a little bit more eager to pick him up. I don't want to say optimistic about what he could do, but I've got a little bit more pep in my step to add Brian Robinson to my roster if he's still out there. And it's not because I'm convinced that he's going to take over. It's just with what we were hearing in preseason, with Antonio Gibson like returning punts. You know what I mean? Like with Brian Robinson getting the runs with the ones during the preseason. Like I'm not going to completely ignore that. There's a very real chance that he comes in here and over the next couple weeks takes over as the lead back for Antonio Gibson. Now, that's not the most likely outcome, right? The most likely outcome is this becomes a gross split backfield where nobody's getting all the touches. But if there's a chance that a running back, like with things to point towards that happening, is going to take over a backfield, that's the kind of player I want on my team, right? Khalil Herbert has that shot. Brian Robinson has that shot. So I'm looking to add him onto my team. We got Maria in the chat saying, good gloomy morning, Maria.
Gloomy
and
morning
Craig
to you.
with grimace staring at someone's butt.
Ooh.
I think that's what that emoji line means. The
Oh,
guy,
yeah,
the
that's
guy, the
definitely
eyes, and then the peach.
Definitely what that means.
Whose butt is Grimace staring at? Probably mine.
Probably yours. I was going to say the same thing.
He wants a piece. Grimace has
Yes,
been,
he does.
Grimace has been
You gonna give
chasing
it to
after
him?
me for years. I mean, one
You
day,
throw him a
but
bone?
jail. The chase is all the fun of this. Know what I mean? The second I let Grimace have my butt, it's just not going to be fun anymore. But instead, it's always just the chase.
Keep him on the hook too long. He'll start to get angry. He might bring in his uncle.
No, keep Uncle Grimace away from me.
What a creepy character to invent.
Uncle O'Grimacy.
Your weird drunk Irish uncle.
Maybe it's just a very relatable character. Maybe they're like, you know what? Grimace isn't relatable enough. Let's give him a creepy uncle. And then
people will know what he's
be able to relate with him.
Then people will really understand Grimace.
Grimace is just sitting with Uncle O'Grimacy, having like a normal family function. Uncle Grimacy puts his hand on his thigh and says, now you'll never forget this day. Just absolutely creepy. Nothing, not crossing any lines. Just Uncle O'Grimacy being a weirdo. Craig in here says, gross split backfield was my dancing name for a while.
Split I love that. I love just the idea that Greg had a dancing name for a period of time.
And Tommy's saying Uncle O'Grimacy's breath smells like French fries and beer without a doubt. And he talks disgusting. A little bit too close to your face. You just know it. Probably
whispered in your ear.
Like you were in a loud bar, but you're not in a loud bar.
But you're in a quiet living room.
Exactly. That's how Uncle O'Grimacy talks to you. Joe, we had another injury update, and it was actually an update about an update. Dak Prescott will get an update on his hand during a doctor appointment on Tuesday. So that's per ESPN. So Dak Prescott, we're going to get some more news about his status, about his hand this Tuesday. Cooper Rush has been playing pretty well, JL. What are you expecting when Dak comes back for this Cowboys offense?
Oh, I expect Cooper Rush to be the number one quarterback. Dak can sit on that bench now. I expect Cooper Rush to go back to the bench when Dak comes back.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going to happen. But Dak, you think he's going to come back and it's going to look good? The small sample size we had of Dak before he went down injured wasn't great. But it was the first game of the season.
Yeah, all the times before that, he did look great, though. I don't know. It remains to be seen. It is his throwing hand that is injured, that he had surgery on. There's a chance that we get a situation where Dak Prescott isn't the same the rest of the year and he needs the offseason to heal. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Stop asking medical questions.
Maria in here saying, did I already miss where Coop is? It can't be his birthday again, can it? No, he's off looking for the lost treasure of Grimace and Uncle O'Grimacy. It might be full of Grimace coin. We don't know. We have no idea what's in there. And Jordan said Cooper Rush or Cooper Cup rest of season.
Ooh,
JL.
good question. Good question. Is this PPR?
It's a PPFFC.
Then I'm going to go Cooper Cup.
What was the FCC stand for again? Point per.
I remember we made this joke, and I have zero memory why.
Point per something. If you
Something,
remember,
something.
throw it in the chat.
Let us know.
I don't remember.
All the days blend together.
Via Pro Football Talk, and if you're watching Red Zone with Mr. Hansen this weekend, you heard him say this as well. 15 of 16 games were within one score in the fourth quarter this weekend, a record. So we had a record number of fourth quarter games within one score. That's pretty fun.
It is pretty fun.
Did it feel that way to you this week, JL?
No, it felt like chaos, which is how it always feels on Sunday.
Yeah, that 1 p.m. slate, it's hard to even get a grasp on like the game script and all of the games going on. It's just like touchdown.
Yeah.
Like I walk away from the TV for 1 second. I look at like the updates of like scoring updates for all players, and there's been like 4 touchdowns, 3 field goals, 2 interceptions, a pick 6, and I have no clue what's going on. All of a sudden, Jamal Agnew's the top scoring wide receiver on the week, and like I swear to God, I just grabbed a bag of Doritos.
That's exactly how it is. And then like for the rest of the time, if it's not scoring touchdowns, it's just like James Robinson rushed for 2 yards. Okay, nothing.
I turn off. Unlike the game day, Fantasy Pros game day, I turn off all play updates except for scoring plays. Like and then I'll keep track of like the stats elsewhere, but just like give me the scoring plays because it's less about keeping up with fantasy. And honestly, that's my best way to keep up with like the games themselves. Is like when I get the scoring updates for every single game, then it makes sure like, okay, I'm watching Red Zone. I saw that happen, but let's make sure we're keeping up with the score in all these games over here.
Right.
It is a fire hose. I'm excited for the buys to start coming up, which sounds crazy, but it makes that 1 p.m. slate just a little bit more manageable.
Slightly easier, yeah.
It makes it more like the 4 p.m. slate, which like the 4 p.m. slate, that is the perfect number of football games to be on at the same time.
Like 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Know what I mean? Like they usually don't line up with when stuff's going on. Like the commercial breaks are scattered. Like that's perfect right there.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's much more manageable. I also just like a nice primetime game, just get to focus on the one game. You're there with that game. It's a little special. It's just you two.
So many commercials during the one primetime game. Like
it's kind of like waiters on a date.
It's like waiters?
Yeah, like they're interrupting you.
Yeah, except the waiter doesn't stick around for 60 seconds and try to
What are we thinking?
Have
we decided yet?
I said you guys, but do you get the commercial for like the extreme brush lawnmower? It's like it can cut down trees, and it's just like a lawn
down your mother.
It's just like a lawnmower like going through a literal forest, and this guy just like casually pushing it over these giant trees.
Mow your car. Every
time that comes on, I'm sitting there staring at it like I will never live someplace where this is necessary, but I want it so bad. like I want this ride-on lawnmower that can go over trees like more than anything, but I've got no place to put it and nothing I would run over with it. Like there's nothing I could do with that.
For some reason, whenever I watch the college games, it feels like the commercials are just on one. Like they're just like 10 times more weird. And I always get those weird ones during like Clemson games. I'll get like there's like a commercial where this guy just goes around sealing everything. He just seals every little seam in his house. He seals it, and then they show it being flooded. It's just like
did it work?
The commercial does.
Wow, incredible!
And Jordan and the Jets. I'm so glad we don't have to see the Gronk trying to get the USAA insurance commercials this year. Yeah, thank God we don't have to see that. I almost forgot about that.
What's your number? 7.
It's a 7-digit code, you dumbass. 7 isn't a member ID, sir.
No, my favorite commercial of this season so far is the Little Caesars one where they're doing training camp, and it's just for that one moment where the woman says exactly that moment makes that the best commercial of this NFL season so far. Also, we just had a crazy update from our producer, Keith. JL, we're going to have to fact check this.
Fact check it?
We're going to have to fact check this. So take your shirt off real quick.
Fact check it.
So we can fact check it.
All right.
Keith says, did you guys know that Grimace is supposed to be a taste bud?
What does that mean? I expected that to be more shocking.
Well, I mean, we've had no idea what Grimace is all this time, and you're not shocked by the revelation that he's supposed to be a taste bud? Brought to life?
Oh, okay. I did not understand that by the way that it was said.
Yeah, probably because I really emphasized bud as a separate
Taste
word
bud.
from taste.
and Keith put it in quotes, taste bud. And I was like, what the heck does that mean?
Well, I think because it's a double
on capital.
It's probably because it's like a double entendre or like a double meaning. Like it's a taste bud, but it's also a taste bud. Know what I mean? Like it's.
Oh, Maria said like a tasting buddy. Also, good morning, Albert. I see good Albert in the chat, FYF chat. Simon, did we hit on the news?
No, we did not. We did not hit all the news.
Sidetracked by some Grimace
Absolutely.
talk.
Tyreek Hill was asked why he's a Dolphin and not a Jet right now, and he responded,
right now,
taxes. Right now.
Why are you a Dolphin right now?
He responded, and he definitely did not respond.
Is that a jet? Is that your jet sound?
Yeah, that's my. You do a better jet sound, JL. That was
pretty good.
Troll, without a doubt. That was not. You've been watching too much Harry Potter.
Simon, please. I work for Boeing.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I did not work.
I know how to plane.
Yeah, well, I've been on a plane before, JL, and multiple times.
Checkmate, JL.
Yeah, we've seen this happen before. Players don't mind playing in states where there's no state income taxes. So Florida, Texas, slight opportunity to maybe steal some players. And you know what?
Wait, did you explain why the tax thing?
Well, I read that Tyreek Hill on why he's a Dolphin and not a Jet.
Oh, he said state taxes.
He said state taxes.
I got you.
State taxes is why he said he was not a Dolphin, or he was a Dolphin and not a Jet right now. Also, I don't know. I feel like it's an easier sell even without the whole taxes thing to join the Miami Dolphins than the New York
Jets. That's what I'm saying. It feels like he just came up with something instead of being like, yeah, no, they suck.
Yeah, it was the taxes for sure. Like I really wanted to be there. Like, really wanted to make it out to New York, play with you guys. Just, man.
It's me every time someone invites me to something.
Shoot, it just couldn't work out.
Sorry.
Couldn't work out.
Sudden dust storm.
Yeah, down here in Miami. I mean, in Kansas City.
In Maryland.
We got an update on the Steelers quarterback situation via Rappaport. He said the Steelers are expected to move forward with rookie QB Kenny Pickett, sources say, as the first rounder is set to replace Mitch Trubisky in the lineup. He saw his first action on Sunday and is slated to be the starting quarterback going forward. JL, how does this make you feel?
I poured one out for Milky Trubilky the minute I read this.
I poured one out for Kenny Pickett the second I read it. It's like Jordan and you're saying, first start against the Bills. Jeez, that is maybe they're trying to get him killed, like putting him out there against the Bills. Like that seems irresponsible to do that. Like that just seems like an irresponsible time to make that switch. Unless Tomlin truly believes it gives him a better shot to win. But God, being a rookie quarterback, coming in, like not earning the start right away, and then like, okay, you can have it now, but you're going up against this Buffalo Bills defense, first time in the NFL. Like, what's going through your mind if you're Kenny Pickett?
Survival. Like, protect yourself. I don't know. You're going up against the Bills, who's arguably one of the scariest defenses in recent history.
Well, then it's not even just the Bills. The next four, we've got Bills, Buccaneers, Dolphins, Eagles as the next four matchups.
Oh my God. Scott Fish said check Pickett's next four. And that is brutal.
That's rough. That's rough, Kenny Pickett. Tommy saying, ouch. And Lucius says, morning all. Good morning, Lucius.
Good morning, Lucius.
It's just in time for us to commemorate a rough start to the career for Kenny Pickett. It's going to be rough. You know what? I'm going to sit here. I'm going to cheer for the kid. I'm not a Steelers fan by any stretch of the word, But I hope he finds success, and I hope they escape this with him intact and with at least one win, that he can pull out one win in this tough stretch of games. But I wouldn't be shocked to see them for Kenny Pickett to start 0-4 to his career.
As a Ravens fan, and you as a Browns fan, this is probably great for us, right?
Yeah.
You think Tomlin is going to finish positive this year?
God, like, what are they right now? They're 1-3, right?
1-3,
yeah. They're 1-3. Dug himself a little bit of a hole, but you know what? I just trust Tomlin to put a winning product on the field. Maybe that's stupid, but I trust that by the end of the season,
only so much one man can do.
They're 9-8.
It's only so much that Tomlin could put this team on his back.
And I think it's Tomlin, plus there's enough pieces to make something come together, right? They got the receiving talent. They got a soup. Tomlin gets out there, starts playing quarterback. He says, Kenny, let me show you how it's done. And fixes it. Nah, they'll get to an even record. At least. Jail, according to Tom Pelissero, the Denver Broncos has signed Latavius Murray off of the New Orleans Saints practice squad. The veteran running back will share touches with Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone. And this is in wake of us getting the Javonte Williams injury news. Javonte Williams out for the season with a torn ACL. So it's the Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone show, and apparently Latavius Murray as well. Do you have any interest in Latavius? He kind of just, as Cooch said, like jumped out of his bed and cleaned his underpants off and killed it for the Saints in week 4.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. It feels like Latavius Murray is just going around like he's that kid who like lost, now he's just going around trying to ruin it for everybody else. That's what it feels like right now from Latavius Murray. A little bit. They're running a lot. This offense. I think this boosts up Melvin Gordon. He's still dealing with his own injuries. So, if they work Latavius Murray into this offense, then absolutely interested. I think you have to be at this point. Injury like that.
Yeah, I'm prioritizing Mike Boone first over Latavius Murray whenever it comes to like picking up the running backs here as a potential fill-in for Javonte Williams. But Latavius Murray's on my radar. But if I'm picking one between Mike Boone and Latavius Murray, it's going to be Mike Boone, the guy who's been there. And JL, that was the guy the other day. When I was thinking of someone who did something amazing in a game, and I feel like every year at some point we end up talking about Mike Boone. Like Mike Boone becomes relevant at some point during the season every single year. And here we are yet again.
Boone season.
Mike Boone is relevant. Also, I see Craig in here saying, wait, as Cooch said, who is Cooch? Cooch is my nickname for Coop. It's my nickname for Coop. It's when he's feeling a little Coochie, I call him Cooch. And whenever he's feeling a little Coopy, I call him Coop. I just call him Coop when he's feeling a little Coopy. And Craig said, did we miss Mustache Watch with Simon? You did. I thought I would sneak by.
Boy.
I'm trying to get a head start for November because last year I was humiliated. we are getting a head start. But yeah, this is just my little dusting. This is just a milkshake stain on my lip.
What the ew? Disgusting term.
Also, Loop Jordan in here said, feeling a little, I don't know what that word's supposed to be, phrasing. Oh, the word I said. I guess that's a word that gets bleeped out. Wasn't my intention when I said that. It was just adding a Y on the end of that little nickname right there. Jimmy in here said, can we sign Mike Tomlin instead? Yeah, I don't know where you're signing. Oh, to the Broncos. You want to sign Mike Tomlin instead of Latavius Murray? Yeah, Joe, I think the Broncos would take a Mike Tomlin instead of a Latavius Murray. What do you think?
Why not? Of course they would.
I think most teams in the NFL would take a Mike Tomlin over Latavius Murray.
Yeah, for sure.
How many coaches in the NFL would you prefer over Mike Tomlin?
How many coaches in the NFL would I prefer over Mike Tomlin?
Because I think he's near the top. Like if the Ravens have to get a new coach tomorrow, and it has to be one of the other 31 starting coaches in the NFL.
So Harbaugh's out.
Harbaugh's out. Everyone else is fair game.
Well, I put McVay.
I put
McVay probably above him.
McVay first?
I think
or
I
at least
McVay
above him.
Yeah, Shanahan, I don't know, is up there anymore. I don't like Shanahan. I feel like he's reaching the end of his rope.
I mean, they reached the conference title game last year, right? He's gone to a Super Bowl as well.
I know, but it hasn't looked good. Them getting to the Super Bowl, it wasn't on a great team.
Which makes me feel a little bit more confident about Shanahan. Know what I
Really?
mean? That the system there, like if you look at a team and it doesn't
I
look
see
flashy on paper and they make it, it feels better.
It can, for sure. It can go either fluky or it can go the route of, they did it without as many pieces.
What about Belichick?
No, I don't think I'd want Belichick at this point. I mean, I love how Belichick plays multiple moves ahead. I like how he thinks about things at least one level up from other people who are playing this game, watching this game. But at this point, like it's
boring.
It feels
Belichick's boring.
Belichick is boring, and it feels like, why can't he figure out some of these other parts of the game? You know, like if he's so smart, if he can figure out these other things, why can't he figure out how to draft a freaking wide receiver? Like,
yeah.
Tomlin figured it out. There is a way.
Tomlin's really good at drafting wide receivers. That's like, or not Tomlin, but the Steelers organization as a whole is great at drafting wide receivers. No, you're right, JL. I think Tomlin might be on the top of the list just because of his continued success. And then the person, like, I love Mike Tomlin.
Just like him. He's a good dude. He's got a good mindset.
Yeah. So Tomlin would be up there. McVay would be up there. And honestly, I want to see a little bit more. But by the end of this season, if the Dolphins make a nice little playoff run, Mike McDaniel, I just love him. He would be up there as well, just because he's so excited.
Yeah, I do. He's very promising. Very promising. The last piece of news that we didn't hit on is Falcons placed the running back Cordero Patterson on injured reserve. Albert came in here reminding us that. It's sad for us, Simon. I know we're both Cordero guys.
Yeah, I was loving seeing how he was being used this season. He was off to another hot start. Hopefully he comes back and steps right back into what he was doing. But
he's 4 games, I think, right? He's out.
Yeah, at least 4 games. And then Tyler Algier and Caleb Huntley will be filling in the meantime. It looks like Algier is the water carrier, as Coop says, and Huntley's the guy who punches it in at the goal line.
Are you picking either of these guys up this week?
I'd probably pick up Algier over Huntley, just because he's got a better chance of that receiving downs work than Huntley does. But there's value in Huntley. It looked like the Falcons wanted to use him as their goal line back. It's just going to be a little bit flukier, right? Maybe not as consistent as the Algier points.
Right.
At least that's how I'm viewing it. Guys, coming up, we're going to review this Monday Night Football game between the 49ers and the Rams right after this. Then we're going to be playing some fantasy detectives. JL, you're going to be the one and only fantasy detective going on today. Or maybe we can adapt the game a little, make it so both of us can play.
Hey, call in, hit that call in button, hop in, come play fantasy detective with me.
Give me a ring. Hit that call in button like JL said.
Call me,
make sure you got the app downloaded. We'll be talking waiver wire a little bit later, doing our waiver wire bracket for week 5, and then playing some hypothetically before comedian Gino Bisconti comes on a little bit later to talk some fantasy football with us. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
We got to get a team in Honolulu. Like, what about that, Ray? You think Oakland? Like, nobody's talking about Honolulu for the Oakland A's to move to. How badass would that be to have a Major League Baseball team? Instead, they want to go to like where it's 120 degrees in the desert of Vegas.
Right.
Ray, they should pick up and go to Honolulu. That would be epic right there for the A's.
They could go to Honolulu, and instead of playing 12 games against a team throughout the course of the year, you just play a 12-game set. Just get it done.
What's the flight from the Bay Area? 4 hours?
It's depending which direction you're going, it's 5.5.
Okay, that's not terrible. You'd have to manage the schedule a bit.
Right.
But it's doable. Like, you play your West Coast games, and then maybe you give an extra day. Like, you play in San Francisco through Sunday. And then you have your Monday off. Everybody gets their Monday off, and then they play, out in Hawaii for 4 games. And they come back for the weekend.
It's very similar time-wise for us in California, in the Bay Area, to go to Hawaii as it is to go to New York. It's very similar. So, yeah, like you're saying, Giants do that to go to the Mets. The A's do that to go to the Yankees. They do it, so it would be very similar.
They would be they've already got the baseball background. I mean, they're dominant. The island loves their baseball. And Ray, you could even rebrand the team from the Oakland A's to the Oakland Lays. You can do the lays, Ray. Look at that.
Good. That's actually, there's no way that would ever happen, but that's pretty good, Kyle. On the fly.
I'm giving away like free marketing right here.
Good work.
Right on the show.
The plan is for them to stay here, but the fans hate them. I don't know if the city likes them. They can't. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't know. The plan
There's
is
a lot of land in Hawaii. Just think about the views, Ray, of the Pacific. It would put your crap ballpark in San Francisco to shame. Like, everybody thinks that's a good view.
Right.
It'd have like waterfalls and real palm trees and the Pacific Ocean.
People
Like,
trolling fire in the seventh
they
inning
would make
stretch.
the Giants Park look like, the vet in Philly. It would look that awful if they moved to Hawaii.
And then you go to your flip-flops or shorts. They serve Mai Tais. They give lays away, or the first 5,000 fans, whatever.
Well, everybody in the chat room loves it. Every time I get a compliment, I don't bring it up on the show.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't want to be that guy.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. And I see Jimmy over in our YouTube chat asking, how the hell do I call in? Well, I'm going to tell you how the hell to call in. Make sure you've got the Bettor Sports Network app downloaded. Downloaded it, register, make an account, and then there's a call in button. It's just one button that you got to press, and you're called in. You're on the show, talking with us, hanging out, playing some fantasy detectives.
Yeah.
Yeehaw! Also, we got Tommy in here with a Mike Tomlin quote for us. He said, "We don't live in our fears. We live in our hopes." Mike Tomlin. See, that's the man I want leading my football team. That's a good man right there saying words like that. I don't have words like that.
I don't either.
Jay, I'll come up with the deepest inspirational quote you can, like original inspirational quote on the spot.
If you trust your farts, beware.
Beautiful. Just wow. Almost as great as Mike Tomlin. You'd be second on the list. Sorry, Joe, what were you going to say before I demanded that moment of inspiration from you?
I have emptied my brain of all thoughts except for farts. So
okay,
I don't
know. Absolutely perfect. JL, we're going to talk a little bit Monday Night Football. We had the Rams versus the 49ers last night. The 49ers coming out on top pretty dominantly, 24-9. The Rams unable to get really much of anything done against this San Francisco 49ers defense down in the red zone. They put together some decent drives, some long drives, and then they got down there and just stalled out, couldn't make anything happen.
Yeah, this game was pretty fun to watch. It was a pretty fun primetime game. Deebo Samuel showed up. He looked fantastic.
Yes, he did.
Ayuk did not, which is great for my Prize Picks League entry. Very happy about that.
And JL was asking me for help on his Prize Picks League entry yesterday. He was like, what do I do? And I was like, well, I kind of like the Brandon Ayuk over on his receiving yards. Like, I kind of like, and JL was like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, that instead of Deebo. And I was like, maybe, like, yeah, I would consider that. And then he's like, yeah, cool. And then he posted a screenshot last night. He took the under on Brandon Ayuk's yards. So you asked me.
And the over on Deebo.
Exactly. You asked me what I would do. I told you. You did not tell me, no, I'm going to do the opposite. You just said, oh, yeah, cool. And then did the exact opposite and won because of it.
Yeah. No, I didn't really feel like fighting you about it. So,
Is that the strategy? Just take the opposite of what I say.
It was more so I asked your opinion, but I didn't necessarily listen to what you had to say. No.
You didn't really.
We talked about it, but I decided to go the other way. I decided to go the other way. It worked out. Yeah, I hit that 5 pick, and then Ayuk was the only one that I took the less on, and that panned out, man. That panned out. I did not expect to sweat that much last night.
Maybe you should have taken the blanket off your lap.
Maybe should have.
Air conditioning.
Maybe should have. Maybe I should have.
No, but Deebo Samuel did show up. 7 targets, 6 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. And oh boy, what a touchdown it was!
Oh, he looks so good, man.
God,
vintage Deebo Samuel.
Vintage Deebo Samuel. That was
Deebo.
That was some retro Deebo Samuel.
Deebo MFN Samuel.
God, no, but truly, like That's why we love Deebo Samuel. Those kind of plays right there, it should have been just like a 3-yard gain. Like they should have just had him right there. And then it probably should have been a 10-yard gain, but that dude turned it into a touchdown. I thought for sure he was going down 3 or 4 times during that run. Like it just seemed inevitable with his placement on the field. And he got there. He took it to the house.
Dude, he looks so good. It looks so good. I see Base Hotep in the FYF chat said, "Guys, a total unit." I love that saying. I don't know why.
Total unit.
But I like it in every context.
Well, just don't call me a unit. I'm gonna be offended.
Unit. Why?
It sounds
why
like
would you
I'm
be
like,
offended?
well, because the NFL players, like a unit is like a big man, right? Like you're a unit. You're something to be like a sight
you're
to
like
behold.
a force. You're like a force, you know? You're a unit.
See, I take unit more as like solid, like thick. Like you're like a big, thick guy. NFL players, clearly they are units because they're muscular and like the peak athleticism is how I view it, right? Like these NFL players. But me, if you called me a unit, like
I'm no unit.
Now you're probably calling
call
me
me
fat.
unit.
You are probably calling me fat if you're calling me a unit. And I'm pretty sensitive, so don't call me a unit.
So don't do it.
I'll cry about it.
Yeah, Jeff Wilson, my guy, who you have disparaged week in and week out, Simon. Why do you hate Jeff Wilson so much? He did
I
great
don't hate
last
Jeff
night.
Wilson. I just think he's average.
Why did you say Jeff Wilson is dumb and that he looks like a bag of watermelons?
Well, you should have heard what he said
Butts.
about my sister.
Said something about your sister?
No, that was a lie. I'm sorry. I just think Jeff Wilson is a
Dude, Jeff Wilson looked fantastic last night.
no.
Did you see that?
Jeff Wilson had one great 32-yard touchdown.
Did you see the run? Did you see the run?
JL, I just like the run was incredible, but I just want to like look at the rest of this stat line to tell you why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74. That's why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74 with a 32-yard run. So really, that's what 74 minus 32. Without that one run, that's 17 for 32 yards or
4.1 a carry. You're complaining about 4.1 a carry?
Yeah.
Why? 4.1 is not that bad.
It's jail. Without that touchdown, we're looking at a 17 for 42-yard game, which is like whatever. Know what I mean? Like, okay, it's fine.
18 carries. You were turning your nose up at 18 carries.
I don't hate Jeff Wilson. And it's not that I won't start him. I think he's a perfectly fine start, but that's where the line ends. Anybody who thinks he's anything more than just a fine start is where I have a problem. Like he's just not exciting. He's not a player that's going to just completely blow up on a given week. He got the touchdown this week. You're thrilled. But next week, when he doesn't get the touchdown, when he's 18 for 57 yards, you're going to be like, well, shoot, another classic Jeff week. Like, he's not going to get the touchdown each and every week. Unless you think this dude's going to finish, like, with Elijah Mitchell being out, if he's going to get, like, 8 touchdowns over 8 weeks. I don't see it happening.
This is his first touchdown of the season. This is his first touchdown. And, I mean, it was a beautiful play. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it. It was like he just glided through the defense. I don't think anybody touched him on the touchdown run. It was like a 30-yard run. It was very good.
Yeah, I mean, and there was great blocking for him, right? Great hole opened up for him, and it was a great run by Jeff Wilson. He can absolutely do that. But my point is just like, take away that touchdown. Look at his stat lines from the previous games. Like, this is what Jeff Wilson does. He's gonna just get 50 to 75 yards off most of the carries, and you're going to need a touchdown for him to be like a good start, I feel like. Do you feel like you're going to get if Jeff Wilson doesn't score a touchdown, are you ever going to be happy you started him?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah, because he hasn't gotten a touchdown yet, and you would have been at least happy that you started him as a fill-in, someone that you've gotten off the waiver wire, right? Half PPR, 11.3 fantasy points in week 2, 9.1 last week, 13.4 last night. Like, that's decent for a guy you got off the waiver wire.
It's decent.
18 carries.
That 13.4 was with that touchdown. Do you get what I'm saying, though?
I get what you're saying. The upside maybe isn't quite there for Jeff Wilson, but it's just surprising coming from you, Mr. Zero RB, who's like constantly.
Well, you said I hated him. It's not like Jeff Wilson's a worthy pickup. And I said I would start him. There's leagues where I am starting him. I'm just not going to get excited about it. It's not a player that I'm ever going to get excited about putting in my fantasy lineup. He's just a guy.
Fair. I'm excited about fantasy points. He's scoring enough fantasy points for it to be meaningful for me as a fantasy manager who has just Jess Wilson is what I kept saying. Jess Wilson.
Jess Wilson. Sounds beautiful. Something that surprised me last night was that Jimmy Garoppolo took not a single sack with Trent Williams out of that game. They had additional O-line injuries throughout the game, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And that Rams defense couldn't quite get to Jimmy Garoppolo. They got some pressure on him, don't get me wrong, but no sacks. Compare that to the other side of the ball. 7 sacks on Matthew Stafford.
Big old sacks.
Matthew Stafford, had just
that's pretty
big
good.
old sacks. 7 sacks on Matthew Stafford. But that was surprising to me. That was a little bit surprising to see Jimmy Garoppolo stay on his feet the entire night. That wasn't how I saw this game going.
Yeah, no, it is surprising. Rams defensive front is not one to be trifled with. So it is promising to see that. The 49ers, they looked pretty good last night. Can't take that away from them.
No, now both sitting at 2-2. And I think part of the reason Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't sacked is we did see George Kittle in there blocking quite a bit last night. Exactly like Jim Coventry and Coop talked about yesterday. George Kittle with Trent Williams out is going to be used a little bit more in a blocking role than in just a receiving role, which is what we like for fantasy. But last night, 4 targets, 2 receptions, 24 yards, no touchdowns. Dale, you can't bench Kittle during this stretch, right? Even while Trent Williams is out, you have to just keep starting him, right? Because of what he can do.
Yeah. He just barely missed a touchdown pass. I think that would have changed the conversation that we're having around Kittle today. I think you can sit him, but there's a lot of situations where I'm not, right? You have to have someone who's a better option. And to me, Kittle is the best option out of most of that like tight end glob that you guys always talk about. Are you starting Freiermuth over Kittle?
No.
Are you starting Dalton Schultz over Kittle?
No.
Definitely not after this week. Everett? Are you starting Everett over Kittle?
No.
Mo Alley Cox, Mr. 2 touchdown man?
I think I'm just starting the guys that I was starting over him at the beginning of the season.
Darren Waller.
Mark Andrews.
What about
Kyle
Hawkinson?
Pitts,
Hawkinson's an
Travis
interesting
Kelce.
one.
If Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, and DeAndre Swift are out again, I'll start Hawkinson over George Kittle.
You think that's why Hawkinson did well?
I think that's part of it. But Coop did bring up yesterday, like maybe this is something that sparks them to get him more involved in the offense. No, it's not all 3 of those guys. But if Amon-Ra St. Brown is out again, then I'm more willing to start Hawkinson. If DeAndre Swift is out again, I'm more willing to start Hawkinson. But that's probably about where the line is. Like he's probably that one where I'm making that choice, waffling back and forth. With waffling is almost what I said.
Waffling. Trenton in the chat says, Rams look bad, or is it just Super Bowl hangover? He said, think Stafford's arm is worse than they're telling us. What do you think, Simon? You think this is what do you think is the root cause of the Rams' woes this year?
I feel like we saw this from them last year a little bit too, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. Like they had stretches where they looked like a bad team. But look at them on paper. They've got the weapons, they've got the defense, they've got the quarterback, they've got the coach. Like I think this team is going to pull it together. I think Sean McVay's figuring it out. I think they got the khakis. They're going to get this figured out. Sean McVay will get this team right. But am I wrong? We saw this last year. We saw a rough stretch from the Rams last year. They're figuring out what this team looks like this year, what their new identity is.
What their new identities. Who are we this year?
True. If Matthew Stafford's arm is injured, they added Allen Robinson to this offense. Tyler Higbee seems to be taking on a bigger role. Like it's a slightly different look here than it was last year. And maybe Trenton's right. Maybe Stafford's arm is helping bring in some of that change, but I think the biggest thing is the
O-line. I think the biggest thing is the O-line is that we didn't, Andrew Whitworth retiring. We didn't know how big of a drop off it was going to be to the next option. That offense was built around that guy. That offensive line was built around that guy. And so they're adjusting, and we're seeing, Allen Robinson does not have the rapport with Matthew Stafford yet. Matthew Stafford doesn't have time to really build a rapport because he just doesn't have much time in the pocket. I think we're seeing sort of a breakdown and why the O-line is so freaking important in the NFL, right? As a fantasy manager, you have to be in tune with what the O-line is on these teams because it affects fantasy so dang much.
And the O in O-line stands for orgasm, in case you were curious. It's the orgasm line that stands in front of the quarterback.
Yes, you have
right
to be
there.
in tune with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dale, I just wanted to make sure in case anyone was listening and didn't know what O-line stood for. Wanted to update them on that front.
O-line.
The O-line. We've got Woolsey Julian in here saying Higbee missed an easy TD, although maybe Matt could have thrown it better. But it was the other comment by Woolsey Julian that I meant to read said, I'm getting tired of starting Waller. Same problem as with Kittle, but what else? I'm not going to pick up some loser.
Some loser.
Yeah, suck it, Tyler Conklin. Woolsey Julian's not picking you up off waivers. Ricky Seals-Jones, get out of here. Why did I go to Ricky Seals-Jones?
I have no
just feel
idea.
like that was throwing shade.
What team is Ricky
reason.
Seals-Jones on right now?
The Jets.
Let's see.
Is my guess. I think Ricky Seals-Jones is on the New York Jets.
Ricky Seals-Jones is a free agent.
Damn it! What was his most recent team?
The Giants released Seals-Jones about a month ago
Shoot.
with an injury settlement.
Was he on the Jets last year? Or am I just making that up?
I have no idea.
Okay, let's play a game. Where in the world is Ricky Seals-Jones? Keith said I'm making it up, and he's a Jets fan, but for some reason, I just don't believe him at all.
Yeah, I just Keith really know like the deep depth charts of the Jets. He seems more of like a surface level fan to me.
Yeah, I'm just not buying it. Yeah, I'm making it up. He was never on the Jets. Turns out he was on the Browns. Maybe I should have known that. Maybe I should have known that. That's okay. Nope. No Ricky Seals-Jones over there. JL, do you think the Rams would repeat if they added Ricky Seals-Jones to this roster? He is a free agent.
Yeah, I think that's the missing piece of the Rams team is Ricky Seals-Jones. There's a Ricky Seals-Jones sized hole in the Rams offense, and McVay is set on filling it.
He is gonna fill that.
He's gonna fill that bad boy up
with some Ricky Seals-Jones, baby.
Woolsey Julian with a very important comment here. Producer Keith doesn't seem like a trustworthy character, and you are absolutely correct, Julian. And by the way, you misspelled his name. It's Kief is how you spell Keith's name.
Yeah, Keith. Jill, on the
love sweet picks.
On the Rams side of the ball, their rushing attack. It seemed like week one, it was like, oh, cool. This is gonna be easy. Cam Akers sucks, and Darrell Henderson's getting all the carries. Like it was like,
right.
Okay, wrap this up. We're good. Everyone, sorry, Cam Akers, guys. It's the Darrell Henderson show this year.
We were telling you all off season.
And then turns out we were wrong. This is a pure just split backfield. It seems like Darrell Henderson, 7 carries for 27 yards. Cam Akers, 8 carries for 13 yards. And Brandon Powell, 1 carry for 11 yards. And maybe the best run of the night. Was it the longest run of the night for the Rams? It was the longest run of the night. It looked like the best run whenever he got in there. Turns out it actually was. What do you do with these players? Can you start any of them?
Yeah, I think you can start Higbee, and I think you can start Kupp. Higbee last night.
But what about the rushing options?
The rushing options that you just mentioned, though. No, I don't think you can. That's true. For some reason in my head, you're going down the Rams, and I saw Brandon Powell in the receiving section, and I just immediately went to all receiving options in the Rams offense.
That's 100% fair. He is a receiver, right?
Yeah, I mean, Darrell Henderson, first 2 weeks looked great. In half PPR, 9.8 fantasy points, 10.7 fantasy points. He had 13 attempts and then 10 attempts. And then the last 2 weeks, he 1.7 fantasy points on 4 attempts, and then this week, 5.4 fantasy points on 7 attempts. So it has really fallen off the last 2 games. It's a wait and see motion for me on these guys. I don't want to start either one of them. Cam Akers is an equally ineffective in terms of fantasy. Ineffective. Sounds
ineffective.
Ineffective. Ineffective.
It's spelled AWN effective is what that prefix is, Joe.
So they got Dallas next, then they got Carolina, and then they have a bye, and then San Francisco. And that is just pretty normal, I guess. Not much to say there. I just said that, and then I was like, there's not really much.
That's all I got to say.
Carolina sounds pretty nice.
That's all I got to say about that.
And that's all I got to say about that.
No, it's disgusting, this split backfield. Like, it's just gross. And last night, like, you could have combined all of the rushing attempts last night and still have had if you just got the Los Angeles Rams rushing as a whole on your team, it would have been terrible for you. It would have been 18 carries for 57 yards. Like that was their entire production on the ground yesterday. It's rough. It's a bad offensive line. It's a great
yeah.
San Francisco 49ers defense. And it's a lack of a star at that running back position, right? They're kind of piecing it together with guys behind a horrible offensive line going against one of the best defenses in the league. And that's what happens.
I wanted to look up what Dallas's run defense is like, and they're tough, man. They're stout this year. Stout, giving up the 7th least points to fantasy running backs. Carolina Panthers, though, in 2 weeks. That's a juicy matchup. Easiest for fantasy running backs. So, oh man, maybe they can each get 40 yards instead of like 16. Yeah.
Maybe Cam Akers will get a whole 3 yards per carry instead of 1.
Would you start either one in that matchup? Like the easiest matchup that it could be.
I'll start Henderson if I have to, which there are leagues where I probably have to. Where I went cutesy 0 RB and Henderson. After 2 weeks, I was like, oh, we did it, boys. Like, we hit on the running back in the late rounds. And now I'm sitting there like, oh, no, what have I done? This team is not fun anymore. Dale, I think next year I'm going to set like a limit at the number of teams that I'm allowed to draft that are 0 RB because it's so much work getting them to be good. Know what I mean? Like you really got to do a lot. Like, it's not just like set it and forget it. It's like every week I'm looking for like the Caleb Huntleys on the waiver wire. I'm tired, man. I'm tired of like clicking through 6 different leagues and just like screaming through. I'm like, oh God, do I want to start Tyler Algier or Mike Boone this week? Like I don't want to make decisions like that anymore. It's not fun.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
I just want to plug in Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley and call it a day and be like, here we go. Let's roll.
I'll be sure to remind you during the offseason as we're doing our endless mock drafts that you shouldn't do 0 RB.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you to shut up and do it anyways.
Yeah,
because I love it. I love every last bit of it. The receiving options for this game, Dale. Yesterday we were talking while you were making your Prize Picks entry. Cooper Kupp was set at 10.5 receptions, right? That was his line. And you were like, man, that seems like a gimme. And I was like, man, I know it seems like a gimme, but that's one where I'm staying away just because it's too high for me to take the over. But I'm never going to take the under on Kupp's receptions like that at a line that achievable. You had the balls to do it, and you got it right. He had 14 receptions on 19 targets for 122 yards. Dude's so good. He's just very good at football.
Good. And Matthew Stafford just like, it doesn't matter, man. He's just constantly going to target Cooper Kupp. He doesn't care. Matthew Stafford is not a fair man. He's going to target Cooper Kupp, and he's going to target Tyler Higbee. Higbee somehow got 14 targets last night.
Somehow. I mean, just every play, it seemed like they were looking Higbee's way. Like if Kupp wasn't getting the ball, it was Tyler Higbee.
What is his target share in this offense right now? He's got 25.5% of the target share. Hashtag never Higbee, am I right?
Piece of shit. He's doing it. He's killing it.
He's doing it. He's doing it. You know?
We'll see if he can keep this act up rest of season. But so far, it looks like he's the dude. Maybe Allen Robinson eventually steps into that wide receiver 2 role, but I don't know. Yesterday. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's a touchdown target or a red zone target that Allen Robinson got yesterday in the end zone.
Yeah.
And he was covered pretty closely, and he threw his arms up, and you could just tell he had given up. Like he'd given up on the catch. He had not like really tried. It looked like he was probably going for the penalty instead of trying to actually catch the ball, bring the ball in. I was just watching that like, dude, come on. The ball is coming your way. Like, you have to try and grab it. He didn't draw the flag, so didn't end up working. It just looked like he made a bad, couldn't catch it.
Yeah, I'm not holding on too much hope. I'm probably not dropping him, but man, that's rough. Higbee killing it. You know who I decided I now have a personal vendetta against?
Who?
Ben Skronek was so excessive with his spitting on his gloves yesterday during that game, and they kept cutting to him. Like every end of the play, they'd cut to Skronek, and he would go and blow the fattest loogie into his hands and then rub them together. Just they showed it like 6 times, and I was like, that's it. I hate this guy now. I'm done. Like, you can only spit on your hands on national television so many times before, like, it just, like, I didn't even want to eat my mango snack anymore. I put it aside.
Mango snack.
I had a nice little mango snack prepared. No, it was not a pureed fruit pouch. It was mango with some chili powder on it. It was delicious, but Ben Skronik, you made me lose my appetite, okay?
You ruined my mango fruit snack.
You ruined my little mango snack, Ben, and I'll never forgive you for that. God, just can't stand that.
That's so funny. I'm a bit of a germaphobe, and anytime I'm watching a quarterback just constantly lick their fingers as they catch the ball, I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. Look, stop, please stop. Please stop putting your tongue to your
grosser
hand.
for them. Like, yeah, they're getting their spit on the ball, but like you've been touching every man on that field. You've been touching the football. You've been rubbing the dirt, and then you're just gonna go lick your fingers. Disgusting. Or it's like I got so grossed out when teachers would lick their fingers while passing out papers. I understand why they do it, but whenever, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, to get the paper separated, they would lick their finger and then pull it off. Yeah. And when the paper would get on my desk with that little wet spot on the corner, I was such a germaphobe when I was a kid. That would send me over the edge. I'd ask for a new sheet. Like, no way. I am not touching your spit on this paper, you disgusting, disgusting man and or woman, depending on the teacher that did it. We got Scott Fish, and you're saying Allen Robinson runs so many routes. Routes run is so meaningless for wide receivers. A lot of wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s out there just running around. Matters for running backs and tight ends to see how much they are involved. But routes run for wide receivers might be the least predictive stat in our industry. Yeah, it's like what is Coop and the Fantasy Besties team over there call them the all track team. These are just the track stars out there running around, and Allen Robinson making a case to make it on that all track team. He is running so much in those games, just nothing happening.
Nothing happening. I do think that it will tend probably closer towards what we expected with Allen Robinson. I don't think it's going to be what we thought. I can't see them making any O-line moves during the season that are going to really impact the team. So unless one of their O-linemen, really steps up, then I think they're going to be dealing with this all season. But I think Allen Robinson and Matthew Stafford will get more comfortable.
They're going to get a bigger couch. They've been sitting on a love seat together, and it's just been a little bit awkward.
Turn on a little Jodeci. Yeah.
It's been a little bit awkward. We had an update from Dustin in here about our Scott Fishbowl placing. He said Simon with a big jump in SFB 12 standings up to 824. No. JL at
dude, I'm getting wrecked. All of the bets I took in Scott Fishbowl are not panning out. They're just not panning out. Travis Etienne and Cam Akers are my 2 running backs.
Yeah, that's rough. Darrell Henderson's my RB2 right now in there, and Kenneth Walker sitting in the wings waiting to step in if he ever takes that job. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Let's see. Did I win this week? That's because I was close. Nope, I lost again. I'm 0-4.
Oh, I was going to say 1-3. 0-4. That's okay, Jay. It's time to turn it around. Hit the waiver wire. Pick up Caleb Huntley. He's going to change your season. Guys,
coming Brian up, Robinson and Kenny Pickett. So
hey, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Both those guys coming back. That's something to spark your team. Guys, coming up, we are going to be playing some fantasy detectives and then doing our waiver wire bracket. And we've got some hypothetically later as well. Before our friend Gino Bisconti joins the show to talk some football with us here this morning. If you're enjoying what we're doing over here and you want to see more of our beautiful faces, head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Hit that subscribe button. Today at 3 p.m. Eastern time, we have our fantasy football game show on that channel. So you can subscribe and then join us this afternoon to play some fantasy football themed games. It's right away. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Collectible moments.
Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing shot to short. Ramirez has it, throws. Bartlett picks the perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right up, 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up at him. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson to carry, looking for running room on the right side. Has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season. The 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP dive. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the banking. They're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downey, swinging, there's the drive into left-handed field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Bettor Sports Network.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. Jill, during that break, we had a question come in from Rollins15. Want to know, should I trade Ramondre Stevenson for Allen Lazard in 12-team PPR? He's 4th out of my 5 RBs on my roster currently. Not as much depth at wide receiver. So would you be willing to or want to trade Ramondre Stevenson away for Allen Lazard?
Allen Lazard, Ramondre Stevenson. I think that is a pretty fair trade. So this is going to come down to your team. It's going to come down to your team. You said he's fourth out of 5 running backs on the roster currently. Not as much depth at wide receiver. Yeah, I'd be interested to know how many running backs you have to start. Assuming it's probably 2, most leagues. But I think this is a fair trade. If you want to go and make this trade for Allen Lazard, I think that's fair. In a vacuum, I like Ramondre Stevenson a little better. I think he's going to be a little more consistent. But Allen Lazard has done pretty well since he's been back, which is promising. What do you think, Simon?
I'm with you. This is a relatively fair trade. These guys are like similar tiers. It depends which position you need more, and it sounds like you need wide receiver more. This is exactly the kind of trade I'm looking for. Like players that are similar tier where one team needs a running back, one team needs a wide receiver. It makes sense to go get that deal done. And I like Allen Lazard rest of the season. He very likely will be Aaron Rodgers wide receiver 1 the rest of the way. Maybe we see some Cobb in there, but I'm expecting it to be Allen Lazard. A lot of Allen Lazard's early production here have come on the back of 2 touchdowns.
He's played 3 games, 2 touchdowns out of those 3 games.
That's what he does, right? That's Allen Lazard. He makes his money on touchdowns, and he's not a high yardage guy. He never has been. So I'm not out here expecting him to put up 1,200 yards. If he puts up 900 yards and has 7-8 touchdowns, that's a great season. Like you should be happy with that. And that's probably comparable to the production you're expecting out of Ramondre, right?
It is comparable, which is why I think it's fair. To your point about that's what he's always done. I think a lot of people are not certain of that necessarily. Not in the sense that like it's not true, but more so in the sense of like, we haven't seen what prototypical Allen Lazard is necessarily. just for fantasy purposes, we know touchdowns are a bit more fluky. They're a little bit less consistent. If he doesn't score those touchdowns, you're very disappointed you started Allen Lazard. So you got to keep that in mind as you go forward.
Now, what I will say is touchdowns are a little less fluky when the player is 6'5", 227 pounds, and your favorite red zone target. Know what I mean? Like there's a reason Mike Evans touchdowns are a little bit more predictable, and I think there's a reason why Allen Lazard touchdowns are a little bit more predictable. Like you can count on more touchdowns from Allen Lazard than your typical person. Like I don't consider it as fluky of a stat for him or for someone like Mike Evans than I do for like most other players, right? Because receiving touchdowns are pretty fluky.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, it depends what you believe about these rookie wide receivers and whether they'll take some of that away from him. But you're right, Sai. He's a big target, and if he's Aaron Rodgers' favorite target, then that's good, right? Big plus Aaron Love equals happiness.
Big plus Aaron Love equals happiness.
That's
Tim
what he says to everybody.
Every time you walk into him, Aaron plus big love. I forget the rest of the words equals happiness. Tim said, do I need to start Devontae Parker against the Lions? I feel like anybody can score on them. JL, would you be plugging in Devontae Parker against the Lions? I'm not trying to force him into my lineup with Bailey Zappi at quarterback going against I'm not trying to force Devontae Parker into my lineup.
No, me neither. We talked a lot about Kuda, who's been a star DB on the Detroit Lions defense. And New England has not been very pass heavy, which is what we expected, right? Bill Belichick just going straight to the boring old defensive games. I'm not forcing Devontae Parker in either. I'm not starting him unless I have to in this game.
Joe, which team through the first 4 weeks do you think has given up the most points to opposing wide receivers, the most fantasy points? It's not the Lions. The Lions are near the bottom. I'll tell you that. The Lions are. It is Baltimore. Baltimore is the team that has given up the most fantasy points to wide receivers. The Lions are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. Seventh lowest. So, Tim, you're right. Yeah, it's a great matchup. But
that Miami game is really blew that stat up.
Yeah, that kind of
two wide receivers makes a little rough. Massive points. Yeah.
Yeah, it says the wide receivers have earned 125 points so far against the Ravens this season. But then the Commanders not far behind. 124, 1 point behind, and they haven't had a game like that. They got some high scoring games though already.
So Tim asked DJ Moore. Would you start him over DJ Moore?
No, I'm starting DJ Moore.
Yeah, I'm starting DJ Moore too. DJ Moore, man, scary season.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not like an excited oh yeah, start DJ Moore. Just man, I don't want to plug in Devontae Parker if it's at all possible.
Yeah.
JL, we got some fantasy detective ready to play. I'm going to read some of these clues. And you know what? What we could do is we could try to get through. How do we want to do this? If someone wants to call in and play with us, that makes it super easy. Call in and play with us. Or, JL, I can read you these clues. You take your guess. I let you know if you're right. Or we can read through all of the clues one by one. We each determine if we want to guess after that clue. And then at the end, reveal who it is. Whoever guesses the player on an earlier clue is going to be the person who wins that point. I haven't clicked. It's a little toggle list over here. I don't know the player. Keith put these together for me.
So we could theoretically both play?
We could theoretically both play.
Let's do that then.
But we won't know if we got it right until the end. Know what I mean? Like as soon as I check. So we have to get through all of them. But we can do it that way.
Yeah, maybe Keith can tell us in the chat. Yeah, he said, let us know if we get it right.
Okay, there we go. JL, here's the
call
first
in.
one.
If you want to come play with us, hit that call button on the Bettor Sports app. Hop on up here and play around with us. Play a round with us, not play around with us.
Or play around with us. Come on up here and play around with us. Just come on and tease us a little bit. Yeah. Come on and say something mean, but in a flirty way. Yeah, just come up here and tell me I'm a bad boy and then get off the air. Here's your first fantasy detective prompt, JL. After graduating from high school, I was selected by the Baltimore Orioles with the 5th pick in the 41st round.
41st round?
Yeah, after graduating from high school, I was selected by the Baltimore Orioles with the 5th pick in the 41st round. Do you know who it is?
No. Cedric Mullins?
I'm gonna guess Joe Flacco is my guess.
The Orioles?
I'm assuming we're talking about a football player here, right? Like I'm just
like a football player who was drafted by. Okay.
The next one is
that makes more sense.
I have 980 passing yards on the year so far. What? That's so many passing yards.
Oh, 900 passing yards. I guess it's not that much.
You're right.
What was it? 900?
980.
Let's go with I don't think this guy was drafted by the Orioles, so this is the only problem. I'll go with Tua.
That was going to be my guess. Now I got to go somewhere else. I'll go.
Nope, not Tua. Bonk.
I'll go. This was Josh Allen. That's a big guy. I could see baseball teams wanting some Josh Allen. Well, we got Keith.
No,
dang it!
bonk.
It's not that bonk as well. The last one, my QBR, or no, there's two more. My QBR is 44.5.
Oh.
Matthew Stafford.
Derek Carr.
Is it Matthew Stafford or Derek Carr?
Nope. Bonk.
Shoot. Okay, this last one is I'm a 9-time Pro Bowler.
9-time Pro Bowler? What the heck? 9 times? 9 times, Keith?
There's only so many players this could be. Russell Wilson.
Aaron Rodgers?
Someone's a hog. Who is it?
I don't know. One of us.
Find out who the hog is. It is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's the correct answer on that one. Let me open up these chats, see if anyone in the chat got it. I see Jameson with a guess of Kyler Murray. That is a good guess down there.
He's Oakland A's drafted him, though.
And Scott Fish said, holy crap, Ian got it right. Wilson
got
has
it?
980. I'm so mad my son is smarter than me. Looks like Ian got that one right. And Scott said my son had it on the first clue.
What's the genius? What's the genius scale thing? It starts with an M or like
Mensa?
a test. Mensa. You gotta get him tested, Scott.
Okay. My eye doctor had a Mensa certificate on the wall. He's the only person I've ever met who like proudly displayed it, right? I'm sure I've met other people that were in it. My eye doctor. This was the weirdest man I've ever encountered. Not creepy, like nothing creepy, pure innocence in this man. But when he would check your eyes, like I know they get up close to your face, but I swear he was doing a bit. He would keep his eyes so open and no facial expression, get like this.
And then he give you a little kiss.
No, but my mom always said she would pay me if I kissed him when he got that close because she said it was uncomfortable. She was like,
your mom.
She was like, I'll give you $50 if you just smooch him. Like, just give him a little kiss.
You were so lucky you got to grow up with your mom.
You're so lucky you got to grow up with your mom.
I am also super lucky I got to grow up with my mom, but it wasn't about my mom.
You're right. I have a great mother. I am very lucky. I think about that every day. JL, I got that one correct, which means I'm the smartest for at least one question. I'm going to close these chats so you guys get your guesses in between, and we'll let you know if you got it right. JL, you ready for this next fantasy detective?
Yeah.
Let's do it. My uncle was a boxer and middleweight champion.
Andy Behrens would know this. Boxer and middleweight champion. Let's go with Michael Pittman.
Let's go with David Johnson.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Nope on both of those. I'm trying to think of like boxers' last names and then finding players in the NFL with that last name as well is like the route I'm going.
Smart.
But that could be wrong. I've fumbled once this season. Just one time, not multiple times. Had one fumble.
James Cook.
That's what I was going to say. That was the first fumble that came to mind, though, where it was only one. Bonk. Leonard Fournette. bonk. I was absolutely bonked on that one. I have 4 runs over 20 yards on the season.
4 runs for over 20 yards, 1
Tony
fumble.
Pollard.
Boxes. What a dumb guess.
Yeah, such an idiot, you stupid idiot, Simon.
1 fumble. Let's go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Bonk.
No, he's too little. He's too little to have an uncle that's a boxer, Dale. You got to find a bigger guy.
You're right. I forgot.
Watch, it's going to be like the smallest guy in the world. I'm averaging over 5.5 yards per attempt. This is the last clue, Dale.
Miles Sanders.
David Montgomery.
What's it going to be?
Nope. We got completely bonked, JL. You want to just reveal this one, call it a draw, because that's the end of the clues.
Yeah.
It was Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's the correct one there. Let's see if anyone in the chat got it.
Fumbled.
We had Metcalf from Trenton. We had Chubb from Tim. Penny
is
from
a
Dustin.
good guess. Penny's a good guess.
That is a
Chubb's
good guess.
a good guess.
Chubb
Myles
is
Garrett.
a good guess.
Baker. All good guesses. Oh, that might have been the previous one.
Yeah, Baker, not a great guess for this one.
Yeah.
So don't lie, JL. We're
20
at least honest.
What was it? 4 rushing
Runs
four
over
rushes.
20 yards on the
Yeah,
season.
Baker Mayfield.
Also, just no way Baker Mayfield's uncle was a boxer and middleweight champion. I believe he was a boxer, but that dude was never champion.
He was a boxer at like his local club.
At the Planet Fitness. No one else was a boxer there. He was just in there punching the bag.
Yeah.
Punching Coop's bag like he was talking about yesterday for $5 million. Coop actually works at a Planet Fitness.
He does.
Okay, JL, you ready for this next one?
Yep.
Here is the first prompt. This one's just kind of sad. Keith, why are you saying this? During my first few months of college, I slept on the floor instead of on a bed because I was used to it. I feel like I've heard this and I can't place
Josh Jacobs.
Najee Harris. I feel like I'm connecting this to Najee Harris. Was it Josh Jacobs or was it Najee?
Pretty sure it's Josh Jacobs.
Well, the answer is not listed in the note. Just Jacobs, JL. You got that one correct. Nice job.
Ooh, that was quick. Yeah, I do remember that one. I was trying to think if it was him or if it was another player that they're. That's a classic NFL draft little story that they just push constantly.
Like the T Higgins one is the one that like still drives me crazy to this day. They literally could not shut up about like the T Higgins like family issues, right? And it was like they like asked him about like his mother's like drug problem and stuff like that. Like
that was T Higgins. I
was
remember
that T Higgins. Like I'm pretty sure it was T Higgins.
In my mind, it wasn't T. It was someone else.
They kept bringing it up, and it was like, stop it, ESPN. Like, not everything has to be some crazy story. You can just let these kids enjoy the best day of their life without bringing up their childhood trauma. Know what I mean?
Think about like from the parents' perspective, it's like your kid's biggest day, and ESPN's like, "Yep, they had a drug addiction.
It was T Higgins.
They struggle with the issues, you know."
Yeah, imagine like you're sitting around with all your family, everyone's gathered at the house to watch T get drafted, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Man, T, in spite of the drug addicted mother, you're such a grateful like."
How freaking insensitive!
I almost just want to.
This makes me mad.
It makes me so mad.
Started joking out, but I forget that it just makes me mad every time.
It's absurd. It's truly absurd. It's like trauma just for entertainment. ESPN's like, I know what'll get the views.
Super exploitive, yeah.
God, it's awful. Just terrible.
What were we talking about? We were playing this game.
We were playing this game. Joe, we've got one more. The score is now 1-1 because we've had one that neither one of us got. One that you got, one that I got. It is all even. Going into this one, are you ready for this matchup?
Yep.
I'm a tight end, currently rostered in 94.6% of leagues.
Dalton Schultz.
TJ Hawkinson. Did we get it? What's it going to be? Did we get bonked? Oh, somebody got it. Who got it? It's TJ Mother Truckin' Hawkinson, JL. Maybe I cheated. Maybe I didn't. You'll never know. I didn't.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline. TJ Hawkinson, you want to know the rest of the clues, JL?
Yeah.
Let me open these or scroll down. The Lion
got the
King
mane
is
of a horse.
Well, The Lion King is my favorite movie. He's got the mane of a lion, maybe.
How freaking we know that?
I have 30 targets, but 18 receptions, and my long on the season is 81 yards.
How did Keith pick the most like medium clues ever? This tells you nothing.
Yeah, those are
I have
very
a
medium
79%
clues.
snap share. Okay.
My long on is what that one of the. If you don't read the rest of that sentence, he just said my long on. You got a long on, JL, after that game?
Oh, big old log on.
Of 81 yards. And Keith said it was easy enough for Simon. Yeah, I just got lucky. I just picked. There were only so many tight ends that could be 94% rostered.
Right.
Maybe that clue should have gone at the end. Lion King at the beginning, roll them up, and then that one goes right down there at the end. Button says, how do you feel after cracking into the NFL? JL, how do you feel after getting into the NFL?
Fantastic. Never felt better.
Never felt better in your entire life?
Never felt better than my entire life.
Guys, coming up, we are going to talk through some waiver wire decisions by going through our waiver wire bracket. After that, we've got some hypothetically, and then Gino Bisconti is joining the show a little bit later today as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Surely. Kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
Yeah. They're always readily available too, it seems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
run it back? Let's run
I imagine
Graham
every
Gano.
single kicker that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just at the local high school kicking field goals, and the phone rings. They get a call and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing for this.
I have an amazing kicker story if you guys have a second.
I got a couple.
The number one all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next two guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He just could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3-point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me on the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We totally have that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. This guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right, yeah. Like Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, it's imagine they win the national championship. That's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
It's in the game.
It's in the game. Guys, we had some questions come in during the break and a little bit earlier that I wanted to hit before we jumped into our waiver wire bracket. First one came in from Za21507 or 215. It's just 215. The 07 is part of the time right there. Should I trade Swift for St. Brown? I got Jamal on my bench. No. In a vacuum, the answer is no for me. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown or DeAndre Swift, which would I rather have rest of the season? It's just harder to replace that running back production. DeAndre Swift is one of the running backs with potential to be the top scoring running back on the year. I'm not moving him for St. Brown for a wide receiver unless you're loaded. Know what I mean? Like unless you're absolutely
rich AF.
unless you're just so rich that who even gives a shit about your fantasy league, then go ahead and make this move. No, I meant like if you've got Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley as well somehow. Know what I mean? Like if that's your starting lineup, then fine. But I can't imagine you have Swift plus two other of those studs that aren't injured and are playing well.
Yeah, I'm with you, Simon. In a vacuum, it's DeAndre Swift. There is a situation in which I could make this trade. It's if your team is very good, and it's if you desperately need wide receiver. And so this is a balancing move, in which case I'm okay doing it. But I think you can get more for Swift than Amon-Ra St. Brown. Maybe not. Maybe it's too hard to sell for Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. His price might be too high. But I still think you could probably get a better option for DeAndre Swift. Like Tyreek Hill or Amon-Ra St. Brown. Which would you rather have rest of the season, Simon?
I want to know a little bit more about I want to know a little bit more about the Tua injury.
Stephon Diggs or DeAndre Swift?
Or DeAndre Swift or Amon-Ra?
What did I say before?
You said Amon-Ra before, I believe. Give me Stephon Diggs either way. In that case, you know what I mean? Like I'll take that top tier wide receiver. Like he's one of the few guys that I would take over there.
Do you think Swift for Diggs? That's a fair trade, right?
That's a fair trade.
Right.
I'm fine with that.
Would you rather have Diggs? And you said you'd rather have Diggs over Amon-Ra St. Brown. So
absolutely,
that's
without
my
a
point,
doubt.
is I think you can get probably a more valuable wide receiver than Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though he's been performing amazingly. Don't get me wrong.
It's Jared Goff.
It's still Jared Goff. It's just the hype. Like the hype is going to be too high. In my mind, it's going to be easier to sell Stephon Diggs for DeAndre Swift than maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown. Maybe not.
No, and Zahn here saying I got Eckler, Pierce, Jamal, and Herbert on the bench, and I had Javonte. Sorry for the early question. Now then, I'm not moving Swift. Jamal and Herbert are potentially moving back to secondary roles, right? Like it's nice to have DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams because then you've got to plug and play RB1 every week, whether Swift's out there or not. Like Swift gets hurt, plug Jamal in. Swift's not hurt, plug Swift in. Herbert could become a nice piece. We've talked about he's got that potential. I'm just sticking with this. I'm not trading Swift away with that team.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know who your wide receivers are. I think that would affect my answer. But I for right now, I think I'm with Simon. You know, just keep Swift. You just lost Javonte.
Get Swifty.
Get a little Swifty with it.
Get a little Swifty. Dennis Steven wants to know: would you start Najee or Herbert this week? Half PPR. If Montgomery is out, of course, better matchup.
Gross decision.
And sorry for the cadence. The hiccups have snuck up on me, and I was trying to hide them.
So Najee Harris says the Buffalo Bills are not the best for any position, but
don't worry, there's a rookie quarterback starting.
That's true. They might just lean heavily on Najee Harris. The total for this game is set at 47. The Pittsburgh Steelers are actually, Simon, why don't you guess? What's the spread in this game?
Which game?
Pittsburgh at Buffalo Bills.
10.5.
14.
14 points?
Yeah.
That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd.
Do the Pittsburgh Steelers cover the 14-point spread?
I feel like the safe money is just yes. No, know what I mean? Like I feel like the answer is like yeah, but I'm staying away from that one. I'm not touching it. Like I would not be putting any money down on that line because like my brain says like, or my heart says the Bills just crush this. Like this is a game where the Bills win by 50. The Steelers don't stand a chance. But man, Like 14
I'm taking
points.
the Bills.
That's a lot. That's a lot of points. Tommy says, I am touching that. Oh, he's touching that so hard. JL, which side are you touching? Are you touching Josh Allen's
Bills,
side
man.
or Kenny Pickett's side?
I think Bills are going to shut this Pittsburgh offense down. The Bills are just so complete, man. It is any other team, I'm not taking that spread. Bills this year, I'll take that spread.
We had a question from Tyson in here. Said, what do we do with Waddle? Can we move him for anything? Don't feel like he will do much with Teddy B. Yo, I'm not moving him. One, Tua sounds like he's recovering, right? He's in concussion protocol is what it sounds like.
He's not out for the season.
He's not out for the season. He's going to come back. So don't panic. And Jalen Waddle is going to be fine with Teddy B. He's still a reception monster, like a target monster. I'm hoping Jalen Waddle. Honestly, I'd be more worried about Tyreek Hill than Jalen Waddle looking at this. You know what I mean? Like, do you really think they're going to be taking those shots? Like, I feel like Tyreek Hill gets a lot more downfield shots than Jalen Waddle. I'm a little bit more worried about him than Waddle, but you just keep rolling. Keep plugging Waddle in. It's going to be fine.
I'm not worried about either of these guys. They got the New York Jets this week, so I'm rolling them out. Throwing them in my lineup.
New York football Jets.
Oh, just to answer, we completely skipped the question before. We just started talking about Najee Harris. But Najee Harris or Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert is playing. He's got Minnesota. It's at Minnesota. It's a very good matchup. The total on this game is set at 44, and the Chicago Bears are 7-point dogs. 7-point dogs. This is pretty close. I'm going Najee Harris still. Matchup is tougher. He's got the QB. I still think they're going to lean heavily on Najee, and I can't sit Najee, man. I can't do it. Cannot do it.
No, I'm with you, Jalen. This might get boring, but like, I'm not going to sit my like studs unless there's a real reason. Know what I mean? And like Najee Harris, you probably drafted in that first round. You probably shouldn't have drafted him in the first round if you didn't want to play him against the Bills. Know what I mean? Like these first round players, except in extreme situations, should be the talents that kind of carry your team. Of course, things change. We see stuff that changes stuff, but I've seen enough from Najee that he's staying in my lineup unless something crazy happens.
Khalil Herbert is. I said it was close. It is close, and that has more to do with I'm hyped on Khalil Herbert this week. You know, it's a great matchup. He looked fantastic last week when he. Whenever
they play the Vikings, right?
They play the Vikings, yeah.
I mean, it's about so far the Vikings are like fantasy points wise about middle of the road against the running back position, right? Like it's not like a bottom half team or a top half team. They're just sitting there right around like 15, 16, 17.
They're bottom half for sure against running backs.
I was looking at wide receiver.
28th worst.
That's right. I thought I clicked on running back, was sitting there staring at wide receiver in my chart. But that was you're right, Joe. I'm still going Najee though. I'm still absolutely going Najee.
Yeah,
Joe, we're going to talk some waiver wire right here. I've got a bracket of players. We're going to vote on these head-to-head matchups. And if there's a tie, I'll give it to you. You can have the tie.
I don't want it.
We'll see if we'll see what the chat says if there's a tie. Or maybe Keith can break the ties. Keith will pick who's gonna move on. So, Jael, the 8 players we're gonna be talking about: 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers. The 4 running backs are Mike Boone, Tyler Algier, Naim Heinz, and Rashad White. The 4 wide receivers are Corey Davis, Alec Pierce, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Nico Collins. So I tried to put some names we haven't talked about on there yet. Guys, if Romeo Dobbs is still sitting out there on your waiver wire, go pick him up. If Garrett Wilson is still sitting out there on your waiver wire, I doubt it. Go pick him up. Like, these are the names we've been talking about, but we want to throw some new ones out here. Jael, the first matchup, running back for the Denver Broncos with Javonte Williams out for the season, Mike Boone, or running back for the Atlanta Falcons with Cordero Patterson being put on the IR, Tyler Algier. Which of those 2 players are you moving on to the next round?
So Algier, just this week, I'm just thinking if you're going to pick up one of these guys for this week, Mike Boone or Algier, I think I'm going to go Algier. Algier has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is not the greatest matchup. It's not a very good matchup at all, but he's going to be the guy there. Cordero Patterson, they were leaning on heavily, and I expect Tyler Algier to get the bulk of that. It's still not great. I don't really want to start either of these guys if I'm not desperate. So, you know, it is what it is that this week. I'd rather have Oh, I don't know, because the rest of the season part is what makes this tough. Javonte's out the rest of the season. Cordero Patterson is out for 4 games. I'll go Boone, just hoping that he is a featured part of this offense for the rest of the season.
That's exactly where I was going to go, JL.
I started off fully expecting to go Algier.
I watched it slowly happen in your eyes, and like I want to go Algier as well, but I think Boone has a safer role rest of season going forward. I don't think they want to give Melvin Gordon a full workload. Like I don't think they want to just keep like loading him up with the ball. So Mike Boone, I expect to be involved from the get-go, and then we're sitting at a spot where we're one Melvin Gordon injury away from him being the starter rest of season, right? Like Javonte Williams out for the year. I'll take Mike Boone. He's a serviceable player, someone that maybe you can start anyways. And then he's one injury away or one thing happening away from being the guy there. So it's going to be Mike Boone for me, but not exciting for either one of those. Jill, the next matchup, I'll do the first vote on this one. We've got Naim Heinz versus Rashad White. And before I say this is not an anti-Rashad White take. Oh, I just did what you did, JL. I went into this fully expecting to pick Naim Heinz, and then now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sitting here thinking, I think I got. The reason Naim Heinz is shooting up. Oh, JL, are you in a rave right now?
Oh no!
Do it again. Do it again.
Hold on, I gotta. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom.
7 a.m. It's time to party. Gotta be cool. Gotta get.
That was a mix of Kesha and Carly Rae Jepsen.
No, it was a mix of Rebecca Black and
Rebecca Black.
Carly.
That's what I meant. Not Carly Rae Jepsen.
You monster! To confuse Carly Rae Jepsen with Rebecca Black, one of the
greatest. It was pretty good. Give me credit for guessing those two. Give me credit for that because that was pretty good. Knowing you, knowing your taste, and knowing what you just sang there, that style.
You can have credit for that, but I will never forgive you for confusing Carly Rae Jepsen with Rebecca Black. Though Rebecca Black turning into Rebecca Black turning into a bit of like a hyper pop icon right now. If you haven't been keeping up with her, she has completely taken control of her image. She is not defined by Friday anymore.
I really like people, like celebrities who do that. You know, they are able to break the mold of whatever initial thing that got them there that was like real cheesy.
100%. Look up Rebecca Black. She's doing some wild stuff right now.
I saw her like a couple years ago. She narrated one of those like Vox Explained videos on Netflix. One of those episodes. Hey,
I know her.
Zah
had a question for us. Is Robert Woods worth a pickup? Yeah, if he's on your waiver wire, pick up Robert Woods. He's getting targets in that offense. I'd be picking him up. But I was deciding between Naim Heinz and Rashad White. Naim Heinz hasn't been wildly involved this year whenever Jonathan Taylor's been healthy. We saw Jonathan Taylor go down with an injury, or there were concerns that he had a high ankle sprain, right? But reports are coming back that he should be good to go. They might limit him a bit on Thursday, though, because of those concerns. So maybe we see Naim Heinz with a slightly bigger workload. But when Jonathan Taylor's healthy, it's the Jonathan Taylor show, like the entire Jonathan Taylor show. Leonard Fournette came out and said he wanted fewer carries. He wanted less work. And Rashad White very easily could just step into this like receiving back role, this supplementary role to Leonard Fournette rest of season. I'll go Rashad White. And it's not that I think Naim Heinz is a bad pickup. One, I think he's going to be picked up in most places, but Rashad White could establish himself as like a role player, a necessary piece of this offense rest of the season.
A role player?
A role player? What?
like D&D?
No, like he has a role to fill on this team, and he's a football player. Maybe he could play Dungeons and Dragons with us. Let's ask Rashad White. Where's your vote going, JL? Rashad White or Naim Heinz?
Dude, I can just tell the waiver it's not a good waiver week just from this bracket.
Yeah, it's not the best waiver week.
Naim Heinz is, why? Just why? Like, what have we seen from Naim Heinz this year that have been promising? He was getting like decent targets in the first 3 weeks. That didn't happen this past week against the Titans where you'd expect it to happen. Rashad White, I'm not that excited about him either. He had 3 attempts, 6 yards. That's 2 yards a carry for those doing the math at home and a touchdown. He did get 5 targets, 5 receptions, 5 targets, 50 yards. So the receiving work is like somewhat promising, but I just don't expect that week in and week out. I think Fournette is going to probably be a bigger force on this offense. I'll I'll go Rashad White by default.
By default, double Rashad White. That's the running back first round of our bracket. Dale, we got one more matchup to do right here on the running back side. It is Mike Boone versus Rashad White now. I'll take the first. No, you got the first vote on this one. Who's it going to be?
I'll go Mike Boone. We talk about upside. Rashad White doesn't really have that upside, in my opinion, this season. Mike Boone, maybe he's nothing, but maybe, just maybe, he is the new Melvin Gordon. So I'll take Mike Boone.
Then who's Melvin Gordon if he's the new Melvin Gordon?
He's the new Javonte.
He's the new Javonte, even though he's old. So we've got Melvin Gordon is the new Javonte. Mike Boone's the new Melvin Gordon.
New Melvin Gordon, yeah.
And get better, Javonte Williams, please. Soon.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to come back. Guys, Jail, I'm voting Mike Boone as well here. It's Mike Boone over Rashad White. Coming up, we are going to finish this bracket. We got the wide receiver side, then picking a champion, and then we're playing some hypothetically. Ooh, boy, I'm excited for some hypothetically. And then our friend Gino Bisconti, comedian, is joining the show a little bit later to talk some Chargers and talk some football for this upcoming weekend. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
We got to get a team in Honolulu. Like, what about that, Ray? You think Oakland? Like, nobody's talking about Honolulu for the Oakland A's to move to. How badass would that be to have a Major League Baseball team? Instead, they want to go to like where it's 120 degrees in the desert of Vegas.
Right.
Ray, they should pick up and go to Honolulu. That would be epic right there for the A's.
They could go to Honolulu, and instead of playing 12 games against a team throughout the course of the year, you just play a 12-game set. Just get it done.
What's the flight from the Bay Area? 4 hours?
It's depending which direction you're going, it's 5.5.
Okay, that's not terrible. You'd have to manage the schedule a bit,
right?
But it's doable. Like, you play your West Coast games, and then maybe you give an extra day. Like you play in San Francisco through Sunday, and then you have your Monday off. Everybody gets their Monday off, and then they play, out in Hawaii for 4 games, and they come back for the weekend.
It's very similar time-wise for us in California, in the Bay Area, to go to Hawaii as it is to go to New York. It's very similar. So yeah, like you're saying, Giants do that to go to the Mets. The A's do that to go to the Yankees. They do it, so it would be very similar.
They would be they've already got the baseball background. I mean, they're dominant. The island loves their baseball. And Ray, you could even rebrand the team from the Oakland A's to the Oakland Lays. You can do the Lays, Ray. Look at that.
Good. That's actually, there's no way that would ever happen, but that's pretty good, Kyle. On the fly.
I'm giving away like free marketing right here.
Good work.
Right on the show.
The plan is for them to stay here, but the fans hate them. I don't know if the city likes them. They can't. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't know. The plan
There's a lot of land in Hawaii. Just think about the views, Ray, of the Pacific. It would put your crap ballpark in San Francisco to shame. Like, everybody thinks that's a good view.
Right.
They'd have like waterfalls and real palm trees and the Pacific Ocean.
People trolling fire in the 7th
They would
stretch.
make the Giants Park look like, the vet in Philly. It would look that awful if they moved to Hawaii.
And then you go to your flip-flops or shorts. They serve Mai Tais. They give lays away. Or, the first 5,000 fans, whatever.
Well, everybody in the chat room loves it. Every time I get a compliment, I don't bring it up on the show.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't want to be that guy.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. We are in the middle of our waiver wire bracket. Before we continue with the wide receiver side, though, JL, we had some questions come in the chat while we were away, while we were pooping. That's what we're doing every time one of those
every single break.
We go over there, we go just one little squirt out, come back over. We got to just divide our morning poop into little 3-minute segments.
Yeah, for the audience. We divide our poop up for the audience.
I've always like been like, I don't trust people that poop in like 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like people
me
that are like,
neither.
I got to poop in and out. Like, yo, like what's going on in there? Like,
One of my roommates at Clemson had that skill, superpower. It's not even a superpower. It's weird. It's not not even
shit
neutral. It's not even neutral. It's like net negative for being able to poop fast, because he'd be able to poop in the time that a normal person would pee. Like if he would go into the stall, you would go to the urinal, he would be done before you.
How fast did he pee?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Done.
The sound.
It was like an air compressor is the sound I was going
very
for.
sharp.
Okay, so we had a question from Tyson Carter.
Yeah.
He said, I have Waller. A guy is offering me Andrews and Jamal Williams for Dalvin Cook. Would it be worth moving him to get Williams and Andrews? I might be able to swing Devontae Adams for CD in that. So trade away Dalvin Cook for Mark Andrews and Jamal Williams. It's not enough for me. It's not enough for me. Jamal Williams is yes, he may have a role in this offense. He may be the going back, but DeAndre Swift is the starting running back in this offense when he's healthy. So, like, do you think Jamal Williams is like when DeAndre Swift is back? Are you starting Jamal Williams? You can.
I think you can. I mean, I put this tweet out yesterday. Running backs with the most attempts in 2022. This was yesterday, so it didn't include last night's game. Keep in mind, but Jamal Williams has 62, so the 8th most attempts amongst all running backs right now. That's pretty interesting. I don't know that I'm making this trade. It's going to be a little bit league dependent because of typically trades with tight ends. Like a lot of my decision making when it comes to that revolves around the league settings, the league size, and what advantage I'm getting by going tight end. Mark Andrews to me is a top tier asset. You're giving up Dalvin Cook, which is a lot. So if you don't have that depth, if you have a ton of depth on the running back side, and you want to upgrade Waller, then I'm okay with it. See if you can maybe put Waller into that trade instead of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. What I was going to say is when I look at what your starting lineup would be, Darren Waller and Dalvin Cook versus Mark Andrews and Jamal Williams, like it's very clear to me that I want the Waller and Dalvin Cook side, right? I just feel like your starting lineup is better with Darren Waller and Dalvin Cook than it is with Jamal Williams and Mark Andrews. But I'm fine if you want to upgrade to that tight end position. I get it over there. We had another question in here from Ike Velen. Said, a dynasty PPR league, would you trade away Rashad Bateman for George Pickens? And then what about in redraft? That's an interesting one, Jail. Would you trade away Rashad Bateman for George Pickens in a dynasty league?
No, I wouldn't. Pickens he's got Pickett now. Pickens and Pickett. And so we got to see what that is going to be like. Rashad Bateman, just on taking all of that aside, Rashad Bateman to me is a more valuable asset. And so trading for George Pickens it's not the greatest move. I don't love 1-for-1 trades like this. It just feels like a lateral move. You're not really making your team better. Sort of just, in my opinion, making it worse because you're going from Bateman to Pickens. But they're not that far off that it's like egregious. And if you believe that Bateman is not going to be what he was, and you think Pickens is going to be better, and he's going to continue this breakout and just be forced to see, then sure, go for it.
In Dynasty, I'm fine with this trade. In redraft, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm just not making that move. I think Bateman's better rest of season, and it's the kind of trades that I avoid in redraft. Yeah, we're going to talk some wide receivers here, and the side of the bracket's a little gross. We've got Corey Davis going up against Alec Pierce for our first matchup. Which of these guys, Corey Davis, wide receiver for the New York Jets, or Alec Pierce, rookie wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, which of these players would you rather pick up off the waiver wire?
Can you go first on this one?
Yeah, I absolutely can go first on this one. And it's going to be Corey Davis for me. It's going to be Corey Davis. I think we've got the Michael Pittman show down in Indy with Zach Wilson coming back. He's loved Corey Davis in the past. Maybe we see some more Corey Davis love down the line with Zach Wilson back in there. So I'm going to go Corey Davis on this one. What about you, John Luke Garofalo?
Man, the Corey Davis love this past weekend or his performance, I was just like giggling because I don't remember what point in the show last week that we talked about it, but we talked about Zach Wilson's coming back. What if he starts picking it up with Corey Davis again? And then he does.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's who he loved last time, and maybe he's doing it again. So are you picking Corey Davis or are you picking the rookie, Alec Pierce?
I'm going Corey Davis. Alec Pierce, I need to see more of it from Alec Pierce this year.
What's it?
Yeah,
You need to see more of it.
I need to see more of him. I need to see more of his talent. I need him to command a higher target share. I want him to, just to expose a little bit more of himself to us.
Take your shirt off,
please.
Bill, our next matchup, we've got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who was pretty heavily targeted this past week, even though Amari Cooper is likely the wide receiver one on that Browns team, versus Nico Collins. Again, another guy not expected to be the one on his team, but just about as heavily targeted this past week as Brandon Cooks, the presumed one on his team. So Nico Collins on the Houston Texans. Which of these players would you rather pick up, DPJ or Nico Collins?
DPJ currently has a 19.5% target share on the season. 19.5 target share on the season. He had 11 targets week 1, and then it's like bookend. So he had 11 targets week 1, 9 targets in week 4, and then weeks 2 and 3 at 1 and 3, which is kind of what you expect from DPJ, from Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's kind of that guy who just is going to disappear and then reappear in a super explosive way. Nico Collins, on the other hand, let me pull up their target share real quick. Nico Collins, he's got 15.1% target share on the season, 17.5% in just the last 3 games, 3 out of the 4. I think I'd rather have Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think it's the offense. Jacoby Brissett, the man, the legend.
Forget the myth, though. There's nothing mythical.
Forget the myth. There's
man.
nothing mythical. That man is all real.
That man is all natural. Ain't no centaur shit going on here. Jacoby Brissett is 100% man.
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Jabret is what we got. Our next.
If you didn't see it, go to my Twitter, FYF John Luke, and go watch that video I posted yesterday of Simon and I just saying Jacoby Brissett.
I just like the guy. I just like Jacoby Brissett.
Good dude. Good dude.
Good dude. Great dude. JL, my vote is going to Donovan Peoples-Jones in this one as well. If Browns team needs to stretch the field, he's the guy who's going to do it. And Jacoby Brissett seems like he's getting pretty comfy in that offense. Know what I mean? Like he's settling in. He's looking all right back there. So I'm going to go with DPJ as well. Sorry, Nico Collins. See ya. Wouldn't want to be actually, I wouldn't want to be any NFL player. I was talking to my girlfriend again about this yesterday. Just looks like it hurts.
She's like, shut up.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, well, it's not a choice for you, idiot. You don't get to decide. And I'm just like, I know, but like that used to be like a dream job for me. Like, how cool would it be to play football for a living? And now I'm just like, man, that they got to be really sore tomorrow. Like they are really tired, I bet, and sore and grumpy. Just difficult. I wish I could play flag football for a living and someone would pay me millions of dollars a year to play flag football.
I was going to say you can, but then you said for a living. That's different.
Yeah, for a living. Dale, our next matchup, we've got the battle of the wide receivers that advanced. Corey Davis versus Donovan Peoples-Jones. Which one is your preferred pickup this week?
I'm going to go with let's go with DPJ. I think he could potentially have a later season surge with Sean Watson eventually coming back. And so this offense, I do expect to get better from a football perspective.
What about from a hockey perspective?
From a hockey perspective, I have no idea because I have zero ideas about hockey. I know nothing other than the name of the sport and that they play on ice.
Stick,
yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think just the upside could be a little higher for him long term. Corey Davis is going to continually have to compete with Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, the ghost of Jamison Crowder.
Exactly. That ghost just keeps on sticking around. Whoa, boogity, boogity, boogity. Braxton Berrios. Is that what he says? He just runs around going, Crowder here.
Crowder.
He just runs around shouting. He didn't have a Boston accent in real life, but once he's a ghost, now he has a Boston accent. My vote's going towards DPJ as well, Dale. And the point you brought up, it's not Corey Davis. It's Garrett Wilson. It's Elijah Moore. It's the ghost of Jamison Crowder keeping me away from Corey Davis. Those three things are exactly why I'm picking Donovan Peoples-Jones here. So, Dale, We have our final matchup now. Donovan Peoples-Jones versus Mike Boone. I'll vote first on this one. And sorry, DPJ, it's been a fun little run for you, but the wide receiver pickups just kind of suck this week. And that's why you were able to get to the finals. It's Mike Boone. It's Mike Boone. You got a shot at a guy to have consistent work in a offense that we hope is improving. This Denver Broncos offense with Russell Wilson under center. I'm going to go Mike Boone.
Go Mike Boone. Yeah, I'm going Boone with you. I'm going Boone with you. It's definitely the positional scarcity, like you mentioned. That's the biggest thing here. And just, hey, if he can be the new Melvin Gordon, that's really very enticing.
Yeah. Also, I see Woolsey in here saying, dude, Crowder's on the Bills, not dead. Going to a division rival might as well be dead to the Jets. Know what I mean? They're acting like that dude just fully left them. Gone in a way. It's not like he left and like went to like San Francisco on the other side of the country, right? Like he went up the street. He said, I'm sick of you fakers pretending to play in New York. I'm going to the one real New York team. And now they just don't even talk
bougie ass San Francisco.
No, not San Francisco. That's how you have to say it. Dale, if how would you say Baltimore if saying it captured the atmosphere, the vibe?
Baltimore!
Just a little bit hectic, a little bit loud, a little bit crazy.
A little crazy, yeah.
We had some questions in here, JL, that I wanted to answer. Rollins had a question for us. So, guys, I have an update to my earlier question about Ramondre for Allen Lazard. I know I'm the Tyler Lockett owner trying to get Ramondre. So Lockett or Lazard rest of season. JL, Tyler Lockett or Allen Lazard rest of season. That's a toughie.
I don't like your follow-up question, and I choose not to answer.
I'll go Lockett. Geno Smith has looked pretty good. Tyler Lockett's been pretty good so far. Lazard, like I mentioned earlier, he could be Aaron Rodgers 1, but I don't think his upside is necessarily what some people think it is, right? Like we're talking 800, 900 yards, 7-8 touchdowns. Great season. But I think Tyler Lockett's upside might be a little bit higher. I'm going to go Lockett.
These guys are pretty close for me. Oh boy.
Me as well. It's not like a slam dunk Lockett. It's a I'm gonna go Lazard. I'm gonna go Lazard. I'm looking at Green Bay's record. I'm sorry, Green Bay's schedule coming up, and it's not too bad. It's actually pretty nice. So I'll go Lazard. I'll hope that Aaron Rodgers can turn it on. I'll attach myself to that MVP and see if our future Hall of Famer. See if also, Allen Lazard can be the guy. Maybe. Jane here said also, should I pick up Boone or A.J. Dillon from waivers? A.J. Dillon. Oh,
yeah, A.J. Dillon.
I mean, both of these guys are in a split backfield, but one of them is Mike Boone and one of them is A.J. Dillon. So that's the tiebreaker for me is I'm going to pick the guy who is A.J. Dillon over the guy that is Mike Boone is how I'm going to make that decision. What do you think?
Yep, I agree with everything you said, son.
Yeah, just perfect analysis on that one. JL, did you vote for Mike Boone as well? Or did you never cast your vote in the finals there? Mike Boone is the champion of our waiver wire bracket. But if you got A.J. Dillon sitting on your waiver wire, he definitely wins over a Mike Boone as well.
I see we missed some of these questions here. James Robinson or Dameon Pierce? Full PPR this week, Simon.
Yikes.
I'm going James Robinson. He's got Houston Texans. Ooh, that's enticing. The over-under on this game set at 44.5. There's the Jacksonville Jaguars are 7-point favorites against Houston. Dameon Pierce on the other side of this game has Jacksonville, which has not been the hardest matchup for running backs. I'm gonna go James Robinson here. I know it was a poopy week last week. That sucked. It was a weird game. It was pouring rain. They were down. They could have won, so it just made it so that the game script was really not conducive for James Robinson's success. I'm still going to go James Robinson this week.
I'm going James Robinson as well, Jeff. At first, I was like, I don't know, but I think it's got to be James Robinson. Also, Woolsey Julian here saying, which one is scoring more PPAJD on average through 4 games? Yeah, points for A.J. Dillon clearly goes to A.J. Dillon and not Mike Boone.
For sure.
That's the statistical category.
If it's a PPAJD league, then definitely take our advice.
Absolutely. Were there other questions in there that we missed, John Luke?
Not that I saw.
Okay. Guys, coming up, we are going to be playing some Hypothetically, and then our friend Gino Bisconti is joining the show a little bit later to talk some Chargers and talk some NFL football. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network, and we'll be right back.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Bettor Sports Network.
I believe one of our bosses at Bettor Sports Network put out a tweet asking all of the hosts on Bettor Sports Network to react to how their fantasy teams are going thus far. And my reaction was 2 words in all caps: not ideal. Not having more of a 500 type of week. But then you had others respond saying they don't check their scores until Monday. Why? What? Is it just not fun watching your fantasy teams as the games are going on? I understand maybe not obsessing for the first hour, but normally, Ron, within the first 2 hours, I'm checking my scores. Why are some of our analysts on BSN against checking their scores until freaking Monday?
That to me is like you're watching porn and the girl starts to take off her shirt and then you click off the video. Why? Don't you want to see the rest? Like, come on, man. Sorry, I'm a person that has to look at scores. No matter how much I try and refrain, like I have to open it and look. So that's just me. Sometimes it's not good. I get it. I understand if someone doesn't want to check till the night. You have so many leagues. You don't want to put stress on yourself. But you're not checking Sunday night going into the night game to see what you have left. You don't want to know who your opponent has you have. I don't know. For me, I got to check. So I got to look. No matter how much I have to, like right now with baseball, like I'm checking it every day. I mean, I thought in my home league I was done. This guy had a huge lead. I am actually a 1.5 back now. So now I'm like, oh, here we go. And I have another league that's close. So yeah, man, I mean, I got to check. If you don't want to check during 2-3 o'clock, I get it. It's early and things happen, but I'm always looking. So I don't see how you can go the whole day Sunday.
It's fun. Isn't it fun watching your scores while the games are going on? It's fun. I get that you're on tilt kind of, but that's why we play.
So what are you going to do? Not watch games all day and then be like, all right, I'll tune in at 7:15, see what happens. Like, that's what it's like doing. I don't know. I don't get it.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. And we are about to play some of one of my favorite games, Hypothetically, where we propose hypothetical situations and try to stretch them to the extremes. Take it down every last thought path, overthink the hell out of it, and tell us what you would do in that scenario. JL, you ready for some hypothetically? Get those hypothetical muscles stretched this morning?
I am ready. Keith came up with the prompts today, so if they suck, blame him.
Okay, you want to read that first one, or you want me to take it on?
I can read it. All right, Simon, tell me, would you rather, while you're on FYFIR for an injured tongue, Cooper Rush steals your job, or you have to give all your fantasy advice like a honky-tonk country singer? So
okay, so
while I'm
on FYFIR is obviously like only applying to the first scenario here. They're not going to make me be a injured tongue honky tonk country singer, because then it's clear which side you pick, right?
Yeah.
Cooper Rush steals your job. Yeah, that's pretty bad. He'd come in here and it would be difficult to put me back in this hot seat probably. But what is a honky tonk?
Do we know how good Cooper
advice?
Rush is at hosting?
Don't draft Darnell Mooney. He'll break your breaky heart. I'm just trying to see how this works. I'm trying to see like what this looks like. Pick up Mike Boone. He'll be a boon for fantasy. Pretty good. You know what? I'm going that route, Jail. You and Cooper are just going to have to suck it up. I'm going full honky tonk, and I'm going to be that honky tonk country singer for fantasy.
Not much thinking in this one for you. It's just pretty straightforward. You're going to honky tonk. What's the difference between a honky tonk country singer and a regular country singer?
Well, regular country singers are racist, and honky tonk country singers are not, I believe, is the difference.
Oh, damn, that's a bummer for the honky tonk ones.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm pretty sure.
They should probably change that. While you're on for an injured tongue, I'm so confused that they added context here for the injured tongue part. So I have to injure my tongue essentially. So I'm sitting there with an injured tongue, and Cooper Rush is stealing my job.
Well, the reason Cooper Rush is able to steal your job, JL, I think you're I think you're separating them too much. You can't host if your tongue's injured. Like, you can't speak. So that's why Cooper Rush is stealing your job. He's your fill-in. You're on IR. You can't host because your tongue is injured. It would be on the down like this the entire time.
But if it's injured, it's probably hurting, right? It's not comfortable. Like, I'm not gonna have an injured tongue and just be enjoying my life, right? I get like a tiny little cut in my mouth and I'm freaking crying and miserable, complaining all weekend.
The point being, you're on IR because you can't speak. Okay, like you're out, you can't speak. Probably hurt in the moment, but you're recovering, you're healing.
And my tongue hurts.
Cooper Rush is your fill-in during that time period, right? He's coming in, he's sitting down, he's saying things like, oh shoot, I'm muted. His tongue tastes fantastic from what I've heard. So. Is fantastic. Sorry, slip of the tongue right there.
So I think this one is easier for me actually, but I'm gonna go on the other side of this. Cooper Rush can absolutely steal my job. He can wake up early. He can come on here and talk fantasy. I'm gonna sleep in, and then I'm gonna just make the money.
I don't want to
make the money that Cooper Rush has to do.
I don't want to hang out with Cooper Rush in the morning, but you know, having a show with Cooper Rush might do big things for us over here. Know what I mean? Like
Coop, and the Hog.
Cooper Rush and Simon's here too, and he has to sing in a country honky tonk accent. What a show! We got Coop, we got Cooper Rush, and we got Coop, and a honky tonk analyst. The honky tonk
hogs.
The honky tonkalist. That's what I'm going by.
All right. Well, I think we probably explored that one to all we could. Anything else you want to add, Simon?
Yeehaw.
All right, moving on to our next prompt. Would you rather Bill Belichick has to make the best man speech at your wedding, or Patrick Mahomes is your wife's best friend, who she always tells you not to worry about and talks to whenever you guys fight? I'm going to add.
So that's what I was going to ask, is this next one is like, I feel like there's the two different kinds of best friends. Like, that it could be like the one that your wife tells you to never worry about. There could be the one that like is super cool, right? And like hangs out with you all the time and is always around, and like you guys are bros as well and everything's cool. Or it could be the one that like, you know, the things they say about you. Know what I mean? Like, you know, they're over there saying like, why are you even with him? Like all that kind of stuff. So which best friend is it? Is it the one like talking bad about me in her ear, or is he hyping me up? Is he like my wingman?
I would say he remains semi-neutral. He won't always help you. So it's not like your boy. It's not like it, you know, like if Maria went and talked to you, I would, you know, but whatever. Like, I know you got my back. But
so maybe I get the vibe
like
like he wouldn't try something, but if we were to ever break up or if I were to ever die, he would immediately try something. Like he would try to swoop in. Okay.
That trust is not there for you. You don't trust it. You don't know him well enough to know that he's gonna not act shady.
Wow, and he has so much money. Just a preposterous amount of money. Just an absolutely unbelievable amount of money.
With a kid and another kid on the way.
Yeah, so maybe
I don't know that factors into it.
If he's
putting himself in this. Honestly, we should call him up and get his take on this, because he's putting himself in a compromising situation. You know, how does Brittany feel about that? Is that her name?
I think so.
Brittany, right? Brittany and Jackson's brother.
Starts with a B for sure. Definitely B Mahomes is her name. I think it's Brittany. Man. And then what was the other side? Bill Belichick makes the best
makes
man
your best
speech
man
at my
speech
wedding.
at your, yep. Well,
How does that?
Guess I'm not doing it.
Yep. Hey, it's good dating. Did what we needed to out there.
It's a good
there
reception.
There's some rough runs along the way. Some players that we had to let go of during this process, but we ended in the right place.
But this Simon, he's a real gym rat.
Real scrappy guy, real student of the game, but he's also pretty stupid.
He's also poops a lot.
On to the next one. See you guys. That's my Bill Belichick press conference best man speech. Man,
it would be really bad if you've never seen Bill Belichick just talk like a normal person. Neither have the rest of us.
We got Hal in here saying he remains our starting husband.
And, he remains our starting husband.
Fantasy Nav said, "Do your job." Do your job. Do your job. You know what? I think, man, but I'm trying to think of the benefits of the other side, JL. Like, we've been talking all the negatives about Patrick Mahomes, but like, Patrick Mahomes is your wife's
now
best
he's your
friend.
wife's best friend. So now
Like-
you get to just like double dates, or you're chilling with Patrick Mahomes. There was one of Maria's friends for a while. We'd go and hang out with her all the time, go out and stuff. And she'd always like, she'd be dating somebody new. So she'd bring these two guys. And a lot of times they're just like so boring to talk to. Like we just had nothing in common. One time she starts dating a wide receivers coach for the Ravens. And I've never had so much fun on a freaking double date. I talked to this dude the whole time.
I remember you coming back like so hyped about one player. Was it Devin Duvernay?
It was Miles Boykin.
It was Miles Boykin.
Yeah,
That's right.
he was
came
hyping
back
up Miles
hyped
Boykin. It
about
was when Miles Boykin first came in. He was like, yeah, man, like he's been texting me since he got drafted. He's been putting in the work. Yeah, it didn't pan out. And I'm pretty sure they broke up because he spent the whole day just talking to me about football. But it's all right.
You're raking him up. And you didn't even date him?
No,
Okay,
I would have.
Let's add another wrinkle into this Mahomes side. Maria now asks you, like, you're just sitting in bed one night and she's like, what do you think about perming your hair?
Okay. And
because she wants your hair to
wrinkle?
She wants your hair to look like Patrick Mahomes.
Like Mahomes.
Like, she doesn't say that
I
out
see.
loud, but the implication is her best friend is Patrick Mahomes. You already have trust
Maybe
issues.
she's like,
out
hey,
of
can you
nowhere,
wear this headband?
out of nowhere, yeah, she asks you to perm your hair and put a headband on.
Talk a little bit like Kermit.
And wear your McDonald's uniform because it's the closest thing to a Chiefs jersey that you have in the closet.
My McDonald's uniform. Oh man. All right. So I think this is tough. Bill Belichick is going to be terrible giving a best man speech, but I feel like it's probably going to be on par with most best men speeches or most toasts at weddings, which is just awful. It is the best part of the wedding, but it also is a train wreck a lot of time. Patrick Mahomes, that sounds awesome. I'm not the type of guy that really worries at all or gets jealous. Like, that's cool. If you want to, that's cool. If Patrick Mahomes is Maria's best friend, that's hype. Seems like a cool dude. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
So I'm taking that side.
We've been talking all through this. I got some trust. I'm going on that side as well. This is one of the ones where I'm almost like, can I have both? Like, how cool to have Bill Belichick at your wedding. Know what I mean? Like, even if it's an awful speech.
Terrible speech, but he's in the corner with his cut off sleeves and
exactly. you know he's just walking around like that with his grumpy ass face all night. He's not going to smile one time. He's going to be polite.
Son is sitting there like being a weirdo.
His eyes are so wide when he does that. Oh yeah, and Dustin, and you're saying, would you rather Bill or Steve Belichick? Yo, Steve Belichick at a wedding reception is a problem. That dude, he's the one that's like just slightly too drunk a little bit too early at the wedding reception.
All right. Are you ready to move on to the next one?
Let's do the next one.
All right. Would you rather you have to lick your hand before and after you touch everything, or you have to make the Steve Belichick face every time you meet somebody new? Immediately. So would you rather you have to lick your hand before and after you touch everything?
Everything?
Or anything, I think is the proper way to say that. After you touch anything, or you have to make Steve Belichick face. You have to make the Steve Belichick face, which is like this, every time you meet somebody new.
I'm just practicing. That's pretty bad.
You've seen Nav said his dog gives the speech after submitting the pick.
Man, this is pretty
It's just
bad.
a husky with a microphone sitting right in front of it.
JL, anything before I pick up anything, is that what this question is?
Mm-hmm. And after.
Like if I'm picking up dog shit, do I have to lick my hand before and after?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if I use a bag?
I don't know how to answer that. You pick up the poop, you don't touch the poop, and then you have to lick your hand.
Okay, so that's still fine. So there are workarounds here. What about gloves? Can I get around this? Can I get around?
Eric said, don't you usually use a bag?
No, I'm barehanded. I'm out to just barehanded dog turds. You leave them in the San Antonio sun for 24 hours, and it might as well be like an igneous rock out there. Yeah, like that's like a moon rock that we got going on out there. No, yeah, I'm barehanded turds, slinging them around the neighborhood, just chucking turds around at all the neighbors running by.
Yeah, show your dominance.
Yeah, chucking turds. Tommy with the same question. No, my question is, JL, if I lick my hand prior to putting on a glove, but I would have to lick my fingers afterwards as well. But at the end of the day, when the glove comes off, since I'm constantly touching it, like, can I get around this with just 2 licks on each hand in a day? Like lick, glove on, and then at the end of the day, glove off, lick again.
You got to take gloves off every time. You just added more work for yourself.
Okay. Well, then why would I be allowed to use a bag? It seems like a bag is just a shitty glove, right?
Yeah, but you take the bag off and then you lick your hand before and after the bag. I'm saying you don't have to you lick your hand after you pick something up, regardless of whether you're wearing the glove or not. Not that you have to lick your hand while it's in the glove, but you could take the glove off or take the bag off your hand and then do the licking.
Okay, I guess I was viewing it differently. Like, I was viewing the glove as the object that I was picking up. It just happens to be held on my hand.
Right, you're trying to loophole it, and I'm telling you that loophole is just a wall.
It's just a wall. I think my loophole would hold up in a court of law, and you're just being a little bit dictatorial here, telling me that I can't use that loophole.
How dare you call me that word?
Dictatorial. I couldn't think of a different word that would be described. You dictatorial dictator, JL. We haven't really explored the Steve Belichick face side, JL. What ramifications does that have in your life?
Yeah, I mean, first impressions, they're pretty much out the window. But I think you could.
Before I need to clarify, it is dictatorial. DICTA.
Dictatorial.
Not a dictatorial.
How do you What would a dictatorial even tell you? What is it teaching you?
I'm pretty sure I had to take that in the 7th grade health class, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that class is lit. That class is so funny.
Yeah, that class is not lit in Georgia. I don't know what they did in Maryland, but
Maryland was lit.
We had the slides, and they scared the snot out of me. They scared the sex right out of me. I signed an ATM card so fast. I was like, "Yep, you're good."
ATM,
abstinence till marriage.
Marriage.
Abstinence till marriage. I used to try to pay with it at fast food restaurants because I thought it was funny and it looked like a debit card, but then it would just have my signature. Somewhere I do. I gave it to somebody.
Leanne took it from you.
No, I gave it to somebody, and then that person gave it back to me after we broke up. So I was giving it back. A second chance. Know what I mean? You could call me
redemption.
A born again virgin, really.
Steve Belichick making his face. Yeah, you might be able to explain it away. Just be like, hey, I got a condition, man. I do this face. I can't help it. Like, I'm sorry. You just you're just gonna have to ignore it. I don't mean anything by it. It's probably gonna make dating tough, but I think most people, I think a lot of people date their friends, so takes dating off the table. And friends, that's. Someone walks up to me, makes that face, they're already my friend. So that's a positive for me. I'm taking the Belichick, Steve Belichick face. I can't lick my hands before and after everything. I'll die.
That is vile, like truly vile. The Steve Belichick face thing. My thought process is, it's only new people, right, JL?
You have to. It was every time you meet someone new. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I know plenty of people.
I wouldn't say just like you're meeting them for the first time. You're seeing them. So every time you and I see each other for the first time, I make that face, but I'm not doing it throughout the conversation. Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
I was taking it as if you meet someone new, and my thought process was gonna be okay, cool. I'm
easy.
good.
I don't meet new people.
If no one new likes me ever again, that's fine. That's cool. I don't mind that.
Does it count for the? Oh, look at that face. Oh.
See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. Except it's all just Steve Belichick.
It's all Steve.
Oh my God! Now I want the little monkey statues with their hands over their mouth and their hands over their eyes, their hands over their ears.
Steve Belichick.
I want busts of Steve Belichick, but doing the little monkey faces. The see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. Steve Belichick monkeys. Can we make that happen? Hilarious. Get those in the merch shop.
Make it happen.
Keith, get some of those ready.
All right, which side of this are you taking, Sam?
I'm still going the Steve Belichick face. The other one is just I was such a germaphobe as a child, and I've worked past it, but there are still some things just licking your fingers that are just absolutely awful.
Dude, most quarterbacks would just Just take that side, not even worried about it. Like, oh yeah, licking everything.
It's disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting.
All right, let's move on to our next prompt here. Simon, would you rather every time you watch a game on Amazon Prime, a treadmill is accidentally sent to your home, or every time you make a bad bet, your dog bites your toes in your sleep?
Bite your toes in my sleep.
Keith is high AF right now, bro. Keith is fucking blaze back there.
Every time you watch a game on Amazon Prime, a treadmill is accidentally sent to your home, or every time you make a bad bet, your dog bites your toes in your sleep. Here's the deal
Are you paying for the treadmill? Like, is it coming out? Is this like a reverse direct deposit thing where they just take the money out and you're charged for a treadmill every time?
Keith says, yeah, it's like a Prime delivery. That doesn't yeah, I'm just going to take the first word. Yeah, you're paying for it. But I'm pretty sure JL said 2 different options there, and your response was, yeah, it'll get there in 2 days.
It'll get there.
like that's basically what you said.
Yeah. Am I getting charged? Am I getting charged?
It'll be there in 2 days.
Yeah. Free shipping.
Am I or am I not getting charged for this? No problem.
It can't be a charge thing. There's no way this scenario works if we're getting charged every time, because that's like $1,800.
Yeah.
I have no idea how much treadmill is. I hate treadmills.
So
I would never even look at one.
Once a week on Thursdays, Amazon Prime is sending me a treadmill that I have to pay for. Well, one, it's getting declined immediately. I can't afford a treadmill. So if this is a pay thing, no, they're not. That's my response to the first one is nope.
Yeah,
not unless
it's taking dog bites.
Yeah, it's gonna be dogs biting my dogs.
But
let's assume the treadmills. Let's assume the treadmills are free and or there's no you can return it. Maybe that's the key.
He says you can return it. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair thing, but that's a pain in the ass. Like there's a 60% chance whatever it is I have to return is not making it back on any given day.
Oh yeah, JL, you and I think our biggest weakness as a pair is mailing things
Post
we're
office.
supposed to mail.
Yeah,
just having.
Simon, guess what?
What?
They just put in a new mailbox in my little complex here. Now we have outgoing mail. I don't have to go to the post office to send letters.
Well, you can just drop the mail off, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to send letters, you could always do that from your mailbox.
Nope, had to go to the post office.
Well, you couldn't just like put the flag up?
We don't have a mailbox like that. It's like townhome, so it's got like a box that everybody shares.
I'm pretty sure that's wild to me. If you just added outgoing mail, you couldn't just drop a letter in your mailbox and have the postman.
As far as I know, I don't check the mail ever, so who knows?
Yeah, I checked the
mail. It's
all
new to me.
My mailman said to me, like, "Hey, you just got to get your mail once every 10 days, or I have to send it back. Like just once every 10 days, or I have to send it back. So just make sure I can access your mailbox at least once every 10 days." But he's much nicer than the old mailman who hated me. Just was so mean to me. I would say hello to him and he would just like scowl at me, roll his eyes, and walk away.
That's hilarious.
Because I didn't unlock my gate in time.
So every time you watch a game on Amazon Prime, a treadmill is accidentally sent to your home, or every time you make a bad bet, your dog bites your toes in your sleep. What constitutes a bad bet? Because I make bad bets all the time. I'm guessing it's a sports bet, right? If I place a bet.
I was taking it a little more literally. Like if I'm like sitting there and I'm like, oh, I bet I can throw this tissue into the trash can and that would save me 2 seconds from having to get up and go drop it off, and I miss it. That adds a dog biting my toe in my sleep. Like you take little bets all day, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to eat this mac and cheese and hope I don't shit my pants. That's a bet. But then if I do,
it never
like,
pays off. But
if you're having Tommy trembles every time you cut a fart, that's taking a bet. Know what I mean? You're cutting a risk right there while you're cutting the cheese.
Listen, I make a lot of bad bets. If it's a bad sports bet, this is easy. Easy. I'm taking that one because I never make bad sports bets. Fantastic.
Yeah. Tommy says, what kind of dog is it? Well, my dog is a 75-pound mutt, just Rottweiler, Chow Chow, and
also just like not scary at all.
No, he's got like, and Pit. He's like Pit, Rottweiler, Chow Chow, and then he's the dopiest, sweetest, like funniest, most nervous little dog.
I feel like his like the type of dog he is in terms of like he just seems like confused on his own breed and everything about himself, like his actual physical traits. But then that also just perfectly maps to his brain, which he just seems confused about who he is as a dog, which is fantastic.
And Hal said, does he have the curved tail? Yeah, his tail does come up and curve. Not like the full chow chow curl, but you can see the chow chow in his tail for sure. You know what? It's a little gross having someone like nibble on your toes, right? Like that's not great. But if I'm sleeping, if I'm out, like if I'm really asleep,
yeah, I'm kicking Rosie in the face.
Exactly.
No doubt.
That's
Not
what I'm
a
saying.
doubt
Is
in
like,
my mind.
that is a Sancho punishment, not a Simon punishment. You're saying like every time you make a bad bet, you're physically beating your dog while you sleep and you don't even know.
This is a downside because I would feel very guilty about that. That would really bother me.
You wake up, Rosie's just like looking at you a little different, and you're like, oh God.
Here's the thing. Rosie.
Brandon Ayuk's receiving yards. I'm so sorry, Rosie, but it's not my fault. It was Brandon's fault.
Wabba! Yeah, Rosie, she bites me all the time, and they are adorable little bites. They're like soft little, bites my nose off. So I'm taking that one. I'm sorry if I kick her in the face. I'm most likely just going to get it's just going to scare the shit out of me. I'm going to probably like yank my foot up, wake up, and then remember that I am imprisoned in this hellish scenario that I call life.
I am scarred by treadmills. My girlfriend was like, hey, I bought I'm buying a treadmill on Facebook Marketplace. Will you come help me pick it up? I was like, yeah, sure. No problem. Like, what's it look like? Are we going to be able to fit it in your car? And she's like, yeah, they said it was like 150, 200 pounds and it'll fit in the car. No problem. We get there. And first of all, it's on their front porch. Up to their front porch, 2 flights of stone stairs with a corner in it. Okay. And we get up there and this treadmill is at least 500 pounds. Like, not even kidding. We go to lift. We both go 1, 2, 3, expecting it to be like 150. And our arms just stopped. And we have to get it down 2 flights of stairs, shove it into the back of this car. We almost like killed ourselves, like getting crushed by this treadmill flying down the stairs. And then of course it doesn't fit in the car, right? Like a treadmill doesn't fit in a RAV4. You can't just shove a full like Nordic track in the back of a RAV4. So we shove it in there as best we can and just drove the whole way home with the trunk open on a CRV or on a RAV4, hoping that this thing didn't fall out of the back. If you want to know how much time I spent with my butthole clenched on that drive, it was the entire 42 minutes.
I was wondering that. I'm glad you answered it.
The entire 42 minutes. Jayla, I'm going with the dog biting my toes every time we sleep as well.
Me too.
I think we had some questions in here that we wanted to hit, right?
Yep.
What do we got?
You
got some of those?
All right, we got Brandon from FYF YouTube chat saying, I play in a 2 QB league using second QB as my OP position.
Offensive player, maybe?
I have Burrow and 2 as my starters and Brissett on the bench. I'm considering dropping Brissett for Pickett for future potential trade value. Would you gentlemen make this move? So fine, gentlemen. Ooh, talking seductual to us this morning. Assuming Tua comes back for me again. Simon, what do you think about this movie? You making this movie, dropping the Brissett monster for Mr. Pickett, Mr. Tiny Hands, Little Fingers?
I don't think so. I know Brissett has a limited time frame for playing. Like he's just going to play until week 11. But man, rookie quarterbacks generally are not good for fantasy football. And this is a bad offensive line. He's got a tough next 4 weeks. Like I'm just not making this move. I'd rather have Jacoby Brissett until week 11 than Kenny Pickett rest of season.
This is tough, man. This is tough.
It is tough. It is tough. That wasn't like this is the right answer. Man, I think I want Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett. Man. Kenny Pickett, we just don't know what he's going to be at. I think I'm going to go Kenny Pickett. Jacoby Brissett has been fantastic. You know what? I think I'm going to make this decision based off of where I am in my league. If I'm 0-4, I'm keeping Brissett. If I'm 4-0, I'm going Pickett. And then somewhere in between for the other ones.
And if you're 2-2, you're taking half of each. You're going
shit out of luck. Yeah.
You're going
then make your own decision. Then I can't help you.
And if you're 2-2, man, sucks to suck, losers. Yeah, we have nothing for you.
My reasoning.
Go to a different show for advice.
Scott Fish said OP equals offensive player, which some sites use that terminology for flex or super flex. That's good to know. Doesn't change the advice.
I like the idea that we only help undefeated and completely defeated players. Like all of our advice is for winners and losers. If you're anything but a winner or a loser, get out of here. We want nothing to do with you. There is a There's a league that I was 0-6 in going into this week, JL, like a full 0-6 because they do against the median as well. Because they do one against the median. And I have not checked yet to see if I escaped with anything in that league. I'm hoping not to start 0-8 through the first 4 weeks, but it is by far my number one worst week worst league without a doubt. It's just bad. Do you have any leagues this year that are just like not good?
Yeah, my Scott Fishbowl league is not good. My Scott Fishbowl team, my flex league, which is Jake Seeley's expert industry league, getting wrecked. I think Jay is in last place. There's no reason for me to throw him under the bus like that, but I just did. I'm 2-6, so that league also has game against the median. I'm 2-6 in that league.
Yeah,
and I'm 10th out of 12. So
hey,
not looking great. Not looking great.
If you ain't first, you're last. So you're in the same boat as everybody except whoever's in first. Still, I am in fact 0-8 in that league. I did lose against the median and elsewhere. Whew, I need a second to recover that. Guys, coming up next, we've got Gino Bisconti joining the show to talk some Chargers and just some NFL football. He'll be on right after this. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
I got to tell this story, okay? So we're out in Canton, Ohio, and we decide to go eat late at night, like after midnight. We decide to go to the Waffle House. Somehow, Fensty's never been there, even though he lives near it. I'm in New York, New Jersey. There's no Waffle House close by. So if you go to the Waffle House, what are you going to eat more than likely? Pancakes, waffles, eggs, and all that, right? So, of course, our guy Rich, he gets breakfast. I get breakfast. Fensty doesn't. He's never been to a Waffle House. How do you not have waffles? Like, it makes no sense.
Dude, there's a time for waffles.
I eat breakfast at midnight. Come on, man.
That's the thing. I didn't want breakfast, man. I got like, what was it, like a cheesesteak sandwich or something like that?
That's like someone who has never been to IHOP going there and ordering a burger. Who does that?
That I wouldn't do. That I would not.
That's the equivalent of what you did. Well, I don't even know what you had.
I got this steak sandwich, which was
steak sandwich at the Waffle House. Never been there, and that's what you get. You're an odd guy, man. You're an odd guy. Yes, you are. Can we get a vote? Can we get a vote in the chat, please? I mean, if you've never been to Waffle House and you get a steak wrap, something's wrong with you, right? Don't you have to get waffles and eggs and bacon and all that? It's the Waffle House.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It was my first time, okay? Ordering the hash browns was already complicated enough. Smothered and covered, and it's almost like it's crazy how much combinations you can have. And I know that everybody's killing me for it right now. And no, to our producers, I don't get pasta at a steakhouse or anything like that.
No, Alfredo, that's what he gets at the steakhouse.
Do you follow me on Instagram? I'm always on that grill. You know how much I love steak. Why would I go to a steakhouse and get pasta?
Because you go to Waffle House to get steak wraps. That's why.
I didn't know it was all waffles, bro. I thought it had like a little bit of everything. That's why. You know, I didn't realize they were famous for the waffles. Hey, look.
You know, the name of the place is the Waffle House. What else would they be famous for?
You know what? That's fine. I guess it's a hot take getting a steak sandwich. As long as it was good, I housed that thing in 10 seconds.
Okay, you were never there, and that's the first time. You're not going to try a waffle? Do you admit it was a mistake?
I don't really like waffles.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. Joining us right now, we've got comedian Gino Bisconti coming on the show. For those of you that do not know Gino, he's the host of the In Hot Water Show, only on Compound Media. Gino, thank you so much for coming up here with us today, my man. Oh, where did he go? There he is. What's up, Gino?
Hey, how are you guys? Thanks for having me. I know I was supposed to be on a couple weeks ago, but I'm an idiot. But trust me, when I talk football, everything I say, you can believe. Go on.
I believe you 100% without question.
The idiot part. You believe the idiot part 100% without question.
Gino, you fit right in here. We are a show of idiots. We just spent about about 30 minutes discussing whether we'd like Cooper Rush to steal our job or have to sing things like a honky tonk singer every time we gave fantasy advice. And we've spent like 30 minutes talking about Butt Spider-Man on this show before, so I don't think you have to worry about being the biggest idiot over here.
Such a relief. Thanks for putting me immediately at ease, you geeks. Go on.
Absolutely. Dino, so I know you're a big-time Chargers fan over there, and
hold up.
I viewed the Chargers as one of like the Super Bowl favorites going into the season, and now I'm looking at them wondering like, what the hell is going on with this rushing game? Like, why can't they get it going? We finally saw Austin Eckler get in the end zone this week, right? But did they got to figure it out now? Is this rushing attack going to look like it did this weekend going forward? Like, is Austin Eckler the dude again?
No, it's Austin Eckler is the dude. That entire team are the dudes. Somebody once said this. It's the Los Angeles Rams are the second best team in Los Angeles on paper, and they do have it figured out. But unfortunately, by they, I mean the other 31 teams in the NFL, and by figured out, I mean Brandon Staley, who is I won't curse on the air. 6 talking to my cat. Don't let me say the F word. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Okay, and people when they lost to the Raiders last year in the playoffs. And look, I've been a Chargers fan since I was a kid, born and raised, South Jersey, outside of Philly. Go Phillies, playoffs. But when I was a kid growing up, whenever I got home from church and family stuff, the Chargers were the late AFC game, fell in love with them. So this is worse than heroin, my addiction to this team. And it drives me insane when I'm watching a game and I'm like, let me let you two geniuses in on something between us three Mensa members. I should not coach an NFL team. I should never be the coach of an NFL team. I shouldn't be an equipment manager. But when I'm watching a game and I'm saying, what the hell is he doing? When it is week 2 of the season, or excuse me, week 3 and week 2 and Austin Eckler gets hurt, and then week 3 the Chiefs lose, and you have Chase Daniel. You have the highest paid backup in the NFL, and you're playing you're playing a guy, and you're like, we can lose this game. But if we have the highest paid backup, let's not have him hurt the rest of the season, and you play him. And he's not only in at the beginning of the game, he's in against a Jaguars team that, let's give him props, they're good. He's in playing down 3 touchdowns with 10 minutes left, and he's back in the game down 4 scores with 4 minutes left, just taking a pounding. Didn't mean to bring up your prom. Just taking a pounding. And I don't understand how people don't look at him and say you're an idiot. And then circling all the way back to when they lost that playoff game to the Raiders, and people are like, what happened to your Chargers? I'll tell you what happened to my Chargers. They're a 500 team. They opened the season last year 5-2, and they should have been 4-3. A horrific call against the Browns on a PI call, and they went 500 because Brandon Staley doesn't make second half adjustments. He goes into the locker room and is like, I sure hope we keep winning. I sure hope this keeps. And you're playing a Texans team, albeit you're injured. You don't have Bosa. You've got J.C. Jackson. You paid a ton of money to look like a second-year rookie, a second-year piece of idiocy. And suddenly you just let your team get out-coached, and you go from 27-17 to you're playing for your life. And he's a terrible head coach. So to answer your question from when this interview started yesterday, no, they don't have it figured out. They don't. Can I change my answer to no, and you can have 10 minutes of your life back? No, they don't.
Oh
They're a crapshoot. They have he's not a good head coach.
Would you believe me? Would you believe me if I told you that was the second time Mensa was mentioned on the show already?
Today.
Because it is. Because it is.
I would, because I'm stupid and I'm not in Mensa, so go on.
Yeah, we're all like that Conan O'Brien gif where we're just waiting on the outside of the window.
We're in Mensa. It's the opposite. MINSA. It's just like the minimum intelligence. As long as you meet a certain threshold, you can get your Mensa certificate that says like, okay, you can function. Nice job over there. But
let me ask you something seriously. As a Charger fan, let me flip it. Do you think they've got it figured out? Because I'm hoping one of you says yes, but I honestly don't. They're not well coached. They have all this talent and they don't play as a team. Do you think they have it figured out? Because I think what we saw was just a team, get desperate against an even worse team and make a nice finish.
Yeah, I think they have their weaknesses. I think they're dealing with a lot of injuries. The defense is dealing with a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
I've seen Staley make some questionable calls as a coach. I think overall, what I've seen, I've liked. I think that I agree with a lot of his process. From what we've seen and what we know, is true. Obviously, a lot of coach speak, a lot of coach decisions is not really always public. But I think that he's built a pretty decent team for y'all. I mean, it wasn't 2 years ago that the Chargers were the forgotten child of LA, right? Like everybody is a Rams fan, and then that's really shifted in the last year, at least from my perspective. But from an outsider perspective, it seems like people are way more in on Chargers because of what we got last year with Justin Herbert, Mike Williams finally clicking, our guy, Keenan Allen. So I think it's a good time to be a Chargers fan. I understand.
It's never a good time to be a Chargers fan. I believe everything you said until you said that. I'm like, Nappy's an idiot too. He's dumber than me. I can't believe that.
You guys won as soon as you picked powder blue as your team color. You won. That's it. That's it.
It's
you win.
hot. It gets me going. It is sexy.
Yes.
The one thing you said that stood out to me, and it's been like glaringly apparent this season, is that Brandon Staley doesn't make second half adjustments. It's looked like two different football teams, some of these games, like out there in the second half. It's like, what is this charge? It's the DirecTV commercials, right? Like I'm the first half Chargers and I have DirecTV, and I'm the second half Chargers, and I punched a brick through my TV at the second half just for no reason. Like it's brutal watching them go out there and play. So I don't know. That's a pretty big problem if they can't get that figured out. But I've got hope that Staley seems like a smart enough guy that maybe he'll get that figured out. But we see it time and time again where coaches are – I think it takes a certain level of ego to get to the level of NFL head coach for a lot of these guys. Not for all of them, but a lot of them have a certain level of ego. And we've seen it time and time again where coaches are kind of unwilling to change their plan because they think it's correct and it's something else causing it not to work, right? So I hope that's not the case with Staley. I haven't gotten those vibes from him, but maybe he's just married to his game plan. He's in love with it. He thinks he's so smart.
He thinks he's so smart.
Oh, this is fun.
If they bring you in as head coach or GM, Gino, what's the first move you're making?
The first move I'm making as head coach or GM is I cannot wait to just cut a player in the middle of a game. Like the Chargers last week.
All I want to do is fire someone middle of the job.
Because again, it's like the Chargers are up 27-7.5, and then they just of course we talked about they don't make adjustments and their hand, like every play that worked, they do the same play and it gets stopped in the backfield. Like, how'd that happen? And then they're up 27. They cut the lead to 27-20 and 27-21, and the kickoff, the Charger, of course, the guy tries to make a play. He runs it out of the end zone, and he fumbles the ball. And it's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then, and he's really good. It's that, God forgive me, I forget his name. It's Carter. It's DC Carter.
DeAndre
Carter. Thank you so much. And then the next play, and of course, they hold him to a field goal. He fumbles it. They hold him to a field goal. I don't want to get into that. So they're up 27-24. They kick off again. DeAndre Carter runs it out of the end zone, gets tackled at the 15. I'd be like, you're cut. And he had a great opening. He's like, you're cut. I'm sorry. And I'd say to him, you're going to get picked up somewhere else. You're going to be great. Come back and beat us, but you're cut. Because I can't have you effing morons playing like you're third graders. I can't. I've got a wife. I've got a child. I have a cat. I have a drinking problem. I've got a wife. I've got a child. I can't do this with you. You're done. You're cut. You're cut. Who did that once? They didn't cut him, but it was so good.
There was a guy who retired mid-game.
There's a guy who retired mid.
A Bills player, right?
Or,
I thought it was the Bills.
Broncos.
No, it was what I'm thinking of. It was God. He was such a pinhead. The tight end for the Niners. And he just threw him out of the game and sent him to the locker room. Oh, I can't think of there was a tight end for the Niners, and he was always a meathead. And at one point, it was back when that crazy guy, the defensive guy from the Bears, that really know my football. That dude, what's his face? I'm like Krusty, guy with a hat, always wears a shirt. And he just said, right now, all your fans are screaming the name, but Singletary lost his mind. He's like, he just grabbed him by the helmet, took it off, and sent him to the locker room, middle of the game. That's the first thing I do. That's what that organization needs. It needs a mid-game firing to really get everyone pumped up. In their defense, and I'm sorry to cut you off, they are the homeless of the NFL. I have friends out in LA. I used to go to a lot of the games, and I went to the opening game, Rams-Bills. I went to that game, and it was amazing. And then I didn't go. I went to a couple games last year. I didn't go to the Chargers-Raiders opener because Raiders fans are meatheads. I don't want to deal with it. But most of the stadium are Raider fans. And so I'm in a bar. This is how homeless the Chargers are. Opening Sunday, I'm in a bar. Chargers have a huge fourth down against the Raiders at the end of the game, and they stop them, and the bar goes nuts. But the bar goes nuts because they were watching Saquon Barkley score a touchdown to beat the Titans in a bar in LA. And I'm not bashing them. That is because they're not an LA team. The Rams are barely an LA team. And I used to go to games in LA when they were playing in that soccer stadium, and it was always more opposing fans. And I'll never forget this meathead Eagles fans. And I'm from Philly, but they love being meatheads. He goes, you should be embarrassed. More Eagles fans here. And I looked at him and I said, and you remember, guys, how the Chargers left San Diego. I said, there should always be more opposing fans here. Let me explain something. You would leave the cold of Philadelphia like you did, the heat of Texas, the humidity of Florida, the rain of Seattle, the wind of Chicago, the brutal winters of New England to go to LA and live there, and you would still be an Eagles fan, a Texans fan, a Cowboys fan, a Seattle fan, a Chicago fan, a Chiefs fan. You would still be a fan. I said, can you name the one city in the world, in America, you would never leave to go to LA? San Diego. You would never leave San Diego to move to Los Angeles. You would never leave the beautiful, where you could wake up every day in winter and have to decide your toughest decision. Do I want to surf or ski today? You would never leave that to go to Los Angeles and live in the smog and the squalor and the homelessness. And the only thing you're less likely to do is drive 2 hours every Sunday to watch a team that left you play in a soccer stadium. You wouldn't. Right. You wouldn't. Like, if you do that, you're the kind of guy that drives across town to watch your ex-girlfriend bang her new boyfriend in a trailer park. You're not.
Hey, we don't kink shame.
Do that. You're not. So they'll always be the homeless. They have no identity. I love them. They're my hobos. My hobos. but
nobody else can have them.
They will never have that support.
Absolutely.
You know?
Gino, I know you do picks each week as well. You do picks for the NFL games. I want to talk to you. Do you have any picks this week that you're surefire on? This is freaking locked and loaded, guaranteed.
Well, I haven't looked yet. And I've been doing these things, Gino's picks, this is my 15th season. And I started doing them 15 seasons ago, and I'll never forget. I'm like, and it's simply put, now it's got to be a 10-minute video, but it's always 4 picks, and I just take 3 games and a Monday night game, and I just talk about teams a few minutes like this, and whatever team I make fun of, whichever team I make a joke about, I pick against them against the Vegas spread. That's the logic. I don't pretend to know gambling. Vegas has a system, you know what I mean? And I always thought I'd get a TV show out of it. I've gotten everything but a TV show out of it because I curse, I make off-color jokes. You know, I did a Jimmy the Greek joke last week where I said, who's the guy? Jamal Adams, who's a beast, such a stud. I said his injury was so gruesome that the bone nearly came off. The cartilage nearly came away from the bone, and it would have if he didn't have that extra twitch muscle Jimmy the Greek told us about. And you do jokes like that in it, and people are like, oh, that'll never be on TV. It's just stupid. But I love doing the videos, and I don't have the picks yet for this week, but I'll tell you a pick I loved gambling-wise. I loved the Niners last night. And don't get me wrong, I'm 9-7 on the year. I'm not acting like I'm because it's one of those games that I'm asking you guys as gamblers. The Niners were laying a point. The Niners were laying a point, and that's a line where Vegas is begging you. And this, I'll say this again, this is hindsight, but this seems to happen so much. It's like there's no way the Rams shouldn't be favored in this game. They're begging you to take the Rams. And then it went from the Rams getting 1 to the Rams getting 2 because my buddy, he's a bookie, said once, you know, that you think they want to spread the line. They want to spread, they use the line to split the gamblers in half, but sometimes they're like, really? You like the Rams? Here, we'll make it easier to bet the Rams. And I saw that all week. And again, this is hindsight. But as gamblers, this is what you always notice. And it's like there's no way. There's no way that the Rams are going to cover this game. And they didn't. It was never they didn't even get in the end zone. It was incredible.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It just seemed like they were putting together these awesome drives, and then it was nothing. Just at the end of it, it would just stall out and absolutely end for them.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you one. So we saw last night, I was seeing it on TikTok and on Twitter. There was a guy, and this is a hypothetical situation, but this really happened to a guy. I want to ask you what you would do. He had a 15-leg parlay that he laid down, money line on 15 different NFL games, just picking the winner, right?
Yeah.
He had 14 correct. The first 14 are right. He put $10 down on it. The last game he had left was Los Angeles Rams, San Francisco 49ers last night. Get it right, he wins $74,000. Get it wrong, nothing. Now, the casino offered him, the sportsbook offered him $23,000 before the game to just cash it out. Are you cashing that out, or are you letting it ride if you've got 14 or 15 right? Like, what are you doing in that scenario? You taking the 23K and running, or are you risking it all for 75?
I got goosebumps when you thought that, because that's like that's what a gambler lives for, because it's amazing. Okay, so you watch this. So you cash it out, right? You cash it out, you take it, and who do we know who he had?
He had the Rams. So it would have he had the Rams.
So I cash it out, right? It doesn't matter who. I cash it out, and I'm on the Rams. I'm the biggest Niners fan in the world, because that's the gambler's logic. Because if you cash it out and take your 23 grand and the Rams win, then you didn't win 23 grand. You know, you lost 56,000 or whatever. I'm trying to do the math. Excuse me, 51,000.
Good enough math.
But so you're rooting for the other team. But I mean, I think. Like, I don't know what I'd do. I would be so mad that they gave me that choice. I'd be because the second they give that choice, it's on you. You're an asshole no matter what you do.
Leave me alone, yeah.
Yeah.
Let my bet play out. Don't you dare engage me with another decision to make.
Yes,
and this one, a $50,000 decision you have no right forcing me to make.
They call you, and it's like, screw you. Like, why would you do this to me? Like, man, you just ruined my weekend.
What kind of people are these? They're not Jewish. What kind of people? I can't.
Sir, we're offering you $23,000. No,
you asshole!
You're taking my $50,000.
I don't know what I do. I honestly don't know, because it's all. I probably let it ride because it's all found money, but I honestly don't know. It's easy to say because I'm not actually looking at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and they always do a good job of making it feel like not real money every single
Yeah. Hey, what did he do?
Oh, he let it ride and lost.
He let it ride and lost.
Let it ride and lost. So
now
I don't know if he took
What a dump! I would have
should have taken the money. We all would have taken the money, right?
Idiot.
You ever play blackjack at the casino and you're winning and you start to lose, and some drunk chick comes up to you, you know what you're doing wrong? Talking to you, you dummy. That's what I'm doing wrong. Like all the people that are right now saying that, oh, why didn't you take them? I feel so bad for him now. Not because he lost the money, just the dumb people he's going to have to deal with.
The people that are like, well, you should have taken the 49ers. I feel you. Gino, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us and hang out for a little bit this morning, my man. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Appreciate you,
Anytime.
friend.
Sorry I missed it the other week. I was on a weird time thing and I'm a moron, but thanks for having me back, guys, or having me back.
Guys, go and make sure you check out Gino on Twitter, Gino_Wisconsin. You can find him on Patreon as well, Gum Fridays. Gino, anything else, any place else where people can find you if they're looking for some of your stuff?
Google Gino Bisconti, comedian. It doesn't matter how you spell Gino. It's Geno. It's Bisconte. All my stuff comes up. I'm Monday through Fridays on Compound Media, show called In Hot Water. It's a silly show. We have a lot of fun. And and follow me on Twitter or whatever. But thank you so much. And hopefully we can do this again. Go Chargers. Oh my God. And go Phillies. Go Phillies. First time in 11 years, people. First time in 11 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go Phillies. Go Chargers.
Appreciate you, Gino.
Thank you so much, Gino. Have a good one. Woo! He got my energy going, Mr. Gino Bisconti over there. Woo. I think I might just have to turn on some of, if his stand-up is like half as energetic as that, I'm gonna have to go just play his like picks in the background over and over again.
Play a Chargers game and just scream at my monitor for the next 3 hours.
I fucking love that guy. That was incredible. You got my energy going. I feel like I got a Bang energy drink just like snorted up my nose.
I feel like gotta bang it out.
We got some questions here in the chat that we got. JL Tully said, who should I grab for quarterback this week? I have Dak on IR.
Who's available?
Maybe some quarterbacks that might be available. We really should know who's available in your league before we can answer this. But I'm thinking about guys that might be on the waiver wire. Trevor Lawrence might still be out there going up against Houston. I would be down to pick up Trevor Lawrence. Like if T-Law's out there, that's probably my top guy that could be on the waiver wire.
Wentz versus Tennessee.
I think I'm avoiding Wentz if possible, but
Tennessee,
you're the only 10 I see.
Oh, stop.
What's your
30th easy. I don't have any. I don't have like, these are the JL pickup lines. Yeah, Carson Wentz, Tennessee Titans. They are ranked 30th in points allowed to the quarterback at the quarterback position. Carson Wentz could be a very interesting streaming option this week. Another name out that we could throw out there is Geno Smith. New Orleans, though.
Geno Smith is incredible, but he has a tough matchup. I'm preferring Trevor Lawrence over him.
So Tully responded.
Dak isn't starting.
Tully did respond to Geno Smith or T-Law, I was thinking. So we at least know those two are available. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is the answer.
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, it's Trevor Lawrence for me. Maybe if this was a rest of season question, it might be Geno Smith, but you got Dak coming back in like a week or two. So I'm going Trevor Lawrence. I like the matchup this week.
I wouldn't be worried about the 4 fumbles.
You said what?
I said I wouldn't worry too much about the Trevor Lawrence fumbles. Like he had a down week this past week. It's raining a ton. The Eagles, they played. Yeah, Eagles defense was very good. Their defense is very good, and the Jaguars' offensive line is not great.
When you're a wet boy, you know what I mean? We had all these wet boys out there running around, and sometimes the
defense is playing well. Yeah, they were punching the ball out, reaching over the linemen. Trevor Lawrence just didn't have the protection during that game. Yeah, and he fumbled a bunch. It's on him too. So I wouldn't be too worried. I don't think he's going to be a 4 fumbles game going forward.
We had another question in here from Joe. What's up, Joe? Joe said, should I deal Melvin Gordon and Dallas Goedert for Travis Kelce? It's a full PPR 3 flex league. So his other running backs are Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, Jeff Wilson, Alexander Madison. And then in the wide receiver room, he's got DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, Alan Lazard, Jahan Dotson, and Julio Jones.
Those wide receivers could use a little help if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
D-Hop, Godwin, Cooks, DJ Moore, Lazard. Yeah, that's not looking good right now. So you've been starting Cooks, DJ Moore, and Lazard probably, or Cooks, DJ Moore, and Dotson with Lazard out. That's
you're stacked at running back. You're stacked at running back, but your wide receivers need help. Yeah, if I'm you, I would pivot away. I wouldn't be targeting Kelce. I would be targeting. Well, I guess we don't know who the tight end is, right?
Goddard, presumably, since that's who he's trading away.
Right. Yeah, I'm not the edge you're gonna get by trading, like leveling up from Goddard to Kelce is like this much. But if you level up on your wide receiver position, I feel like it's gonna be this much, because especially since you're starting 3 flex players, it makes that tight end position slightly less valuable, because you're starting, like, tight ends typically don't finish as high as the other as the running backs and wide receivers, right? Just in raw points. The positional scarcity really makes tight ends more valuable. And so Kelce, I just don't think that I don't think that makes your team that much better. I think your team would be much better if you were going to give up Melvin Gordon and Goddard for a tier 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, no, my immediate reaction in this was, yeah, smash. I think Kelce's worth Melvin Gordon and Goddard. Like, I was like, that works. But you bring it up to 3 flex league, that really does change things. Full PPR 3 flex league, like, that devalues that tight end position. You're 100% right, Joe. That changed my mind. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to use Melvin Gordon and Goddard. Maybe one of the other pieces, maybe a Kamara, maybe a Lenny.
Jeff Wilson.
Trade off Jeff Wilson. You can try to get something higher up than
you drafted well. Right. It didn't really pan out. DJ Moore, Cooks has not been great. Godwin's been hurt. Diab's been suspended.
Also, I see Hal in here saying, I must be so much poorer than you guys. It's not a contest, Hal, but I will say, if we're having a contest, I'd be doing pretty damn well on that one. I would be absolutely killing it on that front. JL, I was just taking a peek at that team over there, the one that is 0-8, and it doesn't feel like an 0-8 team. Let me just read this to you, okay? Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. I think this is where the problem is. And Cooper Rush is my second quarterback. Mm-hmm. But Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Alan Lazard, Evan Ingram, Alvin Kamara, DJ Chark, Hunter Renfrow, Darnell Mooney. Like that team doesn't feel like it should be 0-8, right?
Probably not 0-8. It's probably just got a mix of bad luck. I think you got some hope. I don't think you have hope to win, but you got hope to get a win for sure.
Oh, your hope is just saying I could win. If you start 0-8, what's a successful season?
Well, your league's different though, because you're playing against the median, so it means something different. right, than this like a normal league.
Oh, I mean, you're in this league as well, Jo. I think.
No, I'm just saying like
not.
starting 0-8 means something different.
It does mean something different. It hurts. It absolutely hurts. Guys, that's going to be it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern time for some more of the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. Stick around here for Keith and Moose coming up next here on Bettor Sports Network.